Every tutor who entered Diela Duplain's room eventually gave up. She insulted servants, smashed anything that displeased her, and treated commoners as though they were filth beneath her shoes. Then Derrick arrived. The noble girl welcomed her new tutor by pouring filthy water over his head, kicking him to the ground, and ordering the sewer rat to remember his place. Derrick answered by slapping her across the face. He was only 16, a nameless commoner, a street-raised mercenary, and someone who should have been executed for laying a hand on the daughter of a Grand Duke. But Derrick had been granted complete authority over her education. If Diela refused kindness, he would teach her through fear. If noble traditions had failed her, he would abandon them completely, and if necessary, he would drag her into the wilderness and make her believe that her own teacher intended to kill her. Everyone else saw Diela as an arrogant failure who could never use magic. Derrick saw something they had all overlooked. However, to understand why a commoner dared to challenge one of the most powerful noble families in the kingdom, we must return to where his own education began. In the small town of Ebelstein, there was a lying old geezer. That's what the people in the slums called this aging man anyway. He could use one-star magic, but his bragging was so outrageous that he went around calling himself a great mage. He had a nasty temper too, to the point where he would genuinely lose it at the little kids who tried to prank him. And he learned magic from this crazy old geezer. He doesn't have any grand reason for doing such a thing. The old man simply needed followers, and he needed knowledge. Summer turned to winter, and winter turned to spring, and eventually, the boy began to grasp the flow of mana. The geezer was impressed, but the boy did not stop there and used magic to craft an arrow that went flying into the bark of a nearby tree. That's how he spent a year at the old man's side, while doing every kind of odd job for him, and became a first-star mage. That night, the old man notes that he heard that past the northern wall of Ebelstein, some noble brats reached 3 stars even before their coming of age. That's a realm a lowborn like him could spend his entire life polishing and still barely reach, so he shouldn't get conceited. With skills like his, the entire world will collapse on his head as he reaches the wall of the 2 stars. This old man usually went on long rants about bloodlines, about how magic is just bloodline, and that no matter how much he struggles, it's all futile. He kept drilling this into his head again and again. Perhaps it was a manifestation of his longing for everything he never managed to get, but that night felt unusually long, like he wanted to leave something to the world, a memento of sorts. And sure enough, the next day when he returned to their camping spot, the old man was dead. His entire body was covered in bruises. He'd been badly beaten, probably picked a fight he couldn't win and gotten in this state, a way of leaving this world perhaps. He learned later, though, that the old man was beaten by none other than the guards. They said he got caught trying to steal a 2-star spellbook from a warehouse. Nobody could understand why an old man with no ambition would do such a thing, but the boy knew it was for him, and he always preached about bloodlines. But unfortunately for him, he can't possibly have noble blood, because he's not from this world at all, given the system that popped up in his face and asked his primary school of magic. 4 entire years passed just like that, and he met Katya Flameheart, the former mistress of the now fallen Flameheart house, a viscounty. Born a noble, she was a 3-star mage, and many mercenary groups sought her out for this. While staying in Ebelstein, she took contracts through the Belden Mercenary Corps, and she taught those who joined the Corps young, and went around using 1-star magic to survive. That's how he learned a great deal from a 3-star, and one day, at the Belden's Tier Tavern, she told him that it's only natural for a mage to develop a desire to rise even higher, and as he knows, he has that kind of talent. With that said, excessive greed will only slow his progress. The boy, Derrick, said he would keep that in mind, and so they continued their lesson. Derrick closed his eyes and began feeling his mana, calmly sensing where it's generated, what kind of flow it has, and thought of it as using mana to bring the image he's imagining to reality. As he does that, Katya thinks that he definitely has a considerable amount of innate mana, and maybe it's because he's got a lot of field experience, but his mana control is pretty stable too. Suddenly, Derrick opens his eyes, and something thunders throughout the entire tavern, causing the mercenaries to get up and immediately check if there's been an attack or something. As Derrick recovers, Katya grabs his hand and tells him not say anything, and just follow. As the mercenaries wonder what that was, as it definitely sounded like an explosion, surely there must have been an attack nearby. Katya takes Derrick to an alley, where he asks what is going on. She tells him to listen carefully to her next words. As he knows, nobles are sensitive about their privileges, and magic is the greatest privilege among them. People treat innate strength as some sort of blessing, but that only applies to nobles. Among commoners, very rarely does someone reach 3 stars, but usually those are commoners who devoted their entire lives to the art of magic, and what he just used was a 2-star delusion-type spell called Auditory Hallucination. That's how, at the age of 14, he became 2-star. After that, Katya continued traveling with him and passed down various spells, and sometimes she even taught him about the high society she used to be in when she was a noble. A year passed just like that, and then Katya left. He heard that the country of Elvester appointed her as a private tutor. House Elvester was the kind of family that even the capital's Grand Duke had to respect, because they had Count Elvester on their side. For Katya, it was an offer that she could just not refuse. Becoming the magic teacher of a noble of that level was an enormous blessing for anyone. Before leaving, though, she left him a 2-star spellbook as a gift, and using his known magic, he studied that book for an entire year and mastered 2 more 2-star spells at just 16, and had no intention of stopping there. At that same tavern, the bartender tells Derrick that they finally got a proper request for once. It is apparently a request from House Duplain, the Grand Douche. Does he understand now why he's excited? Derrick asked if it was that Duplain. But why would a place like that hire them? The bartender told him that's not what mattered right now. It's Duplain, the house that uses gold like people use water. And if they open a path with Duplain through this job, they can build better connections too. Derrick dusts himself and asks what he wants them to do. The bartender tells him it's nothing crazy. They want them to subdue a few monsters on the outskirts of the Grand Duke's territory. With Derrick surprised that this is it, something feels off. A family as big as Duplain asking a mere mercenary corps to clear out beasts? He refuses to go. He should go find someone else. The bartender tells him to wait, but Derrick is bent on not accepting. His only rule is not to take shady jobs. The bartender tells him that if he could get someone else, he would do it himself. But they say they needed a mage, and people like him are scarce among mercenaries. He's the only one who can do it, and that's why he called him. Derrick is even more suspicious. Why do they need a mage just for a monster subjugation? Regardless, he doesn't want to get tangled in this mess. Before he leaves, the bartender throws 1 gold coin at him. This isn't even the fee, but an advanced payment. Derrick knows he can't refuse now. He wants to keep his job after all. So he meets with the clients, and the bartender tells him to pay his respects to them. The noble older man refused. A child who hadn't even had a coming-of-age ceremony? He heard he earned a merit during the Dawn War, so he had some expectations, but he couldn't believe he was sending a child to this job. The bartender told him that this kid is the real deal, and the best mage he knows. The noble refused and turned to leave, as this is a task that cannot be entrusted to a child. Before he could walk out, though, his wife whispered something to him, looking at their daughter as she did, and so the man relented, noting that they could talk. The next day, somewhere in the Grand Duchy of Duplain, Derrick began his job, kicking away a goblin before decapitating another. One of them rushed behind him, but Derrick dodged with precision and zapped the goblin to death. With this, he has finished the job, and the noble seems rather displeased that he took them down so quickly, but their daughter seems to think otherwise. That night at the tavern, one of the mercenaries couldn't believe that Derrick had become a dog of the nobles. The bartender tells Pauline to get down from the table. There are customers around too. She doesn't care. No matter how lowly commoners like them are, they must not become dogs for the nobles. The bartender guessed that Derrick didn't tell her how much they were paying, but she didn't care. No price is worth his pride. The bartender pointed out one, which she thought was 1 silver, but it's actually 1 gold. Pauline immediately begs to be taken on the job too, but the bartender tells her to shut it. She said that pride can't be bought after all. After she tires herself, the bartender asks Derrick how his request went. He explains that it was nothing special. He just killed a few goblins, and that was that. The bartender knows their first impression was trash, but they looked like they had money, right? Derrick confirms as such, but also states that all 3 of them were lying. The noble dispatch officer said he was looking for exactly 3 things: youth, stamina, and socializing ability. But that person had none of the 3, and the woman who called herself a scullery maid, her hands were far too clean for someone doing such rough work. That trainee inspector too. It's all too strange. The bartender looks at him sternly and tells him that they are just mercenaries. They don't need to dig too deeply into their clients. They just do the job and take the money. Derrick knows that Jaden is right. This place is the wild, and in the wild, the only thing that matters is living to the next day and nothing else. The next day arrives, and Derrick takes care of most of the goblins. With this, they won't be showing up for a while. The officer noble congratulates him for his good work, and Jaden wants to discuss how they will handle payment. He immediately gets 2 gold coins and scruffs Derrick's hair while noting that they are rich now, but Derrick tells him to put that down and talk. The officer clears his throat and says that he admires Derrick's skills. He would like to entrust him with a new request, if that would be acceptable. For this request, the Grand Duchy will pay upwards of 15 gold coins. So will he do it? Derrick agrees, and so, they are both taken in a carriage to the Duplain residence. Jaden notes that this is the first time he has seen something like this. It's quite an impressive building. Before they enter, the officer thinks he should formally introduce himself, but Jaden tells him that's not needed. They already met once or twice, and formalities aren't needed. Even so, the man introduces himself as Delon, the Grand Steward serving the Grand Duke Duplain, and he apologizes for having concealed his status, but it was needed for the task. Jaden wonders what they are supposed to do now, and the older woman introduces herself as Katerina, the Grand Duke's head maid. Jaden bows slightly, surprised that they are both people of such high standing, and introduces himself as well, as captain of the Beldun Mercenary Corps, and a bartender on the side. Derrick knew something was suspicious. He more or less expected this, but their ranks are pretty high. Eventually, the girl from before gets out of the carriage too. She removes her cloak and lets down her hair, introducing herself as Isaline Eleanor Duplain. She wants to appoint him as the magic tutor for her younger sister Diella. Derrick is surprised. Him? A magic tutor for a noble lady? At the same time as this happens, one of the Duplain's sons barges through the doors of his father's study, telling him and Valerian, his brother, to look at this. His father asks Reg what he is doing, and he should conduct himself with dignity. Reg screams out, noting that the one who needs to act with dignity isn't him, but Diella. She has gone too far, and now she's even laying hands on the people he hired for her. What does that say about him? Valerian tells him to lower his voice. He and his father were in the middle of a conversation. Reg refuses, as more than 10 servants quit last month, not to mention the hundreds of objects she smashes whenever she feels like it. How long are they going to keep turning a blind eye to that thug? Valerian gets up and screams at him, noting that this is enough, so he should leave. Reg refuses once again. Even if Diella is a good-for-nothing brat, don't they still have Isaline? He thinks it's time to let Diella go. His father puts his glasses down and says that's not for him to decide, but Reg refuses to let this go. He had the Grand Steward look into a monastery. They say the facilities are good, plenty of children of nobles come and go, so instead of living while being treated like a burden, would it not be better for Diella to devote herself to God's will? As he continues speaking, his father suddenly grabs his head and smashes it roughly into the table. He believes he made himself clear. This is not his decision to make, and that's final. Reg dares not look his father in the eye, but tells him that when that time comes, and it will come, he will have to decide. As Derrick walks around the halls with Isaline, who asks if he's ever heard about her younger sister, Diella, Derrick notes he's seen her in the family registry, but that's it. Isaline expected as such. She's probably not well known to the public. As they walk, they meet up with Reg and Valerian, who, upon seeing Isaline, note that it's been a while and ask how Ebelstein is treating her. She explains that thanks to him, she's been living comfortably there. He understands, but since Craig is a bit hurt, they will catch up later. Derrick immediately sizes them up, seeing their stern faces and the maid who's crying. They eventually arrive at the father's study, who is also relieved to hear that his daughter is doing well. Isaline explains that this is the magic tutor she brought from Ebelstein. He said he'd take charge of Diella. The father understands, and seeing him uninterested, Isaline notes that he's busy, so they will take their leave. Before they do that though, the father says he wants to have a chat with Derrick. Just him. As he continues writing, he notes that he's quite young, 16. Derrick confirms as much, and the father asks if he can handle magic to some extent. Derrick lies and says he can use a bit of one-star magic, making the father laugh a bit, as he has no reason to lie in front of him. Humility doesn't always come off as a virtue. Derrick looks at him, the Grand Duke of Duplain. He guesses humility won't work on a 5-star mage. He apologizes for coming off as disrespectful, but Duplain says it's fine. He knows why he carries himself this way. Being too talented can end up doing more harm than good. Judging by his age and attire, he doesn't look like someone suited to be a magic tutor. Derrick admits that he is a mercenary, but Duplain notes that Isaline chose him, so he won't be prying any further, and he will grant him entry to the annex of the residence where Diella lives. He may go now. A maid will guide him there. Before leaving, Derrick wants to ask one thing, which Duplain allows. He is a mercenary. If he takes a commission, it is his duty to see it through, so that Diella may learn magic and enter high society as a proper maid. Isaline commissioned him. Duplain asks why he's stating the obvious, but it's because Derrick has an earnest request to make of him, which the Duke listens to. Inside Diella's room, she throws a plate at one of the maids, who apologizes again and again, but Diella asks if her apologizing will change anything, given her status. She should get out of her sight right this second, and if she shows herself one more time, that plate will end up in her face. As Jaden has some tea with Isaline, he asks why she chose Derrick. Magic tutors should have been lined up in front of them. Besides, a commoner will have difficulty working as a noble's magic tutor. Isaline explains that she tried almost every famous magic master on the entire continent. In the end, they all gave up, so she opted for those who can use magic but are under desperate circumstances. Although Derrick has the background of a mercenary, he seemed to know a bit about how Haeyo nobles conduct themselves and their culture. Jaden explains that his master was a fallen noble who used to be successful. He probably learned a lot of that from her. Iseline figured he was refined and kind despite being a mercenary. She thought that if it was him, he might be able to rein in Diela and lead her. Jaden tells her that she needs to learn how to see through people more, as Derrick is a mage who grew up on the streets, and he worked as a mercenary before he even came of age. Does she really think someone from the streets can survive on nothing but refinement and kindness? For a child like that to survive, he needs more than that. He knocks on Diela's door, and upon not getting an answer, simply opens it and introduces himself. Diela tells him to come closer, and as he does, with a wicked smile, she throws a bunch of diary water in his face. How horrible. She thought that some sewer rat had come in. He's probably the mercenary the Grand Steward mentioned, or perhaps not. Looking at him, he does seem like a sewer rat. She climbs the chair and pours the rest of the dirty water on him, which she guesses reminds him of his hometown, right? Being drenched in gutter water like this? She eventually runs out of water and notes that it's a shame she didn't give him a proper bath. But Derrick doesn't react at all, making her angry, and she kicks him down. She removes her shoe as he stinks and sits down, telling him to know his place. Someone like him from the dirty streets is not worthy of teaching her. As he looks out the window, Duplan thinks about what he discussed with Derrick, who said that the fact he's here means Diela's problem cannot be resolved with ease. He wanted to ask him, who loves Diela more than anything, how much authority he's willing to grant him when it comes to teaching her. Well, he gave him enough authority to slap her across the face, which naturally comes as a shock to Diela, but Derrick tells her to get up, as he's not done quite yet. 3 years ago, as Derrick was taking a carriage with Katya, he asked what she would do if she had to teach a stubborn student who did not appreciate kindness. She said that she would try to understand them, embrace them, and take them in. Derrick believed that was a bit idealistic, but Katya told him the essence of teaching is to lead a student in a better direction. If he can't communicate through understanding and acceptance, then they will have a different starting point, and that is fear. Derrick gives his first order to Diela, to treat others with consideration and respect, and tells her to get up again. She does so, but immediately slaps him, asking how he dares to hit her. Derrick does so again, and notes that he won't say the same thing twice. When she deals with others, she will do so with consideration and respect. Seeing this, Diela screams out for the Grand Steward, telling him that this lowborn dared to put his hands on her. He immediately rushes in and gets between them, asking what he's doing right now. How dare he lay a hand on a noble? When the Grand Duke finds out, he's cooked. To shut him up, Derrick pulls out a scroll and explains that his grace granted him full authority over all of her education, and to employ whichever method he may choose. The steward reads it, and cannot deny the validity of the document. That night, upon hearing what happened, Valerian rushes through the hall and barges in Derrick's room where he's reading. He immediately grabs Derrick and asks how he dares to hit Diela, but Reg stops him and tells him to just talk. Derrick explains that his actions were permitted by the Duke. He doesn't need to answer to them. Reg tells him to calm down again. He is a guest Iseline brought. If they act like this, in what position will they put her? And their father allowed it too. Valerian calms down and tells Derrick to come with him, and also tells Reg not to interfere and go attend to his own stuff. Reg pats Derrick on the shoulder and notes that Diela does need a beating before she comes to her senses, so he shouldn't worry. Even Valerian won't go too far. He nods and goes with him, Reg wondering why he's even protecting her so adamantly. Valerian leads Derrick to the room, which used to be Diela's when she stayed in the main house. It's been left in this state ever since. She used to love drawing. Every time she asked him to look at her drawings, her face would turn red, but she never finished a drawing. Most of the time, she would leave a blank space and only draw the parts that she liked. He also apologizes for becoming so emotional. Derrick says it's fine, but why did he bring him to this room? Valerian just wanted to show him that Diela wasn't a child who deserved to be despised or beaten, but at some point, she started obsessing over bloodline, and in the end, she was driven out of the main house and locked away in the annex. He can't even guess what turned her into that. They have to stop her from being sent to the monastery. If she learns even one star magic, he will be able to persuade father somehow. He is begging him to please save Diela, as he might be just her last chance. Derrick tells him to wait. She did not give up completely on magic, judging by all the notes in the margins of these books. And those books next to him are all theory books from the School of Regulations, right? Valerian confirms as much because nobles learn from the School of Regulations. Looking at all this stuff, Derrick has decided that he will give it an earnest try. As Diela sleeps peacefully in her bed, Derrick suddenly pours a bucket of water on her, asking if she's seriously sleeping. She wakes up and asks if he's out of his mind, but Derrick just grabs her hand and tells her that there's somewhere they need to go. She screams again, asking how he dares to touch her, and keeps screaming as he drags her away from the house and near the forest. where he drops her on the ground. She asks what he thinks this will change. He should wake up from his dream. Who the hell is he to teach her? Derrick is surprised. She doesn't even listen, but does she want to know something? Honestly, he never had any intention of teaching her magic. He just enjoys beating stuck-up nobles. Diela asks what he just said, but Derrick hopes she will agree. There's no reason for someone from the bottom to like nobles. This tutor nonsense was all a big excuse to beat up an arrogant, high and mighty noble like her. As he pulls out his blade, he asks if she knows how beautiful nobles who haven't known true suffering are. Delia asks if he thinks he will be safe after doing something like this, but Derrick doesn't see why not. She was going to be shoved into a monastery soon anyway. Who would believe anything she said? And if something big happens, he can just apologize with his life. A commoner's life is worth that much at least. Or he could run away. They would probably forget about all this soon enough anyway. He'd be doing Duplan a favor, actually, getting rid of his biggest headache. Diela feels that she's going to die. If she gets caught, she will die. She begins running away. If she cuts across the grassland toward the residence, she will be caught. So she has to shake him off in the forest, which she should know better than him, and then she will go back to the residence. Suddenly, she sees something glowing behind her, as Derrick has formed a gigantic fireball. But that's two-star magic. How does he know to use it? Derrick smiles, and his fireball almost overwhelms Delia, exploding right next to her. He apologizes, as he will make sure not miss next time. Diela continues running through the forest, but eventually trips on a root, falling directly on her hands. At that moment, a magic arrow flies towards her face, and she barely has a few seconds to dodge. Derrick praises her for her quickness. It's hard to believe that's the speed of someone who was cooped up all this time. Diela looks back at him and continues running away, but he doesn't want to give up. She wonders how long she has to keep running. Can she even get away at this point? As she looks back, she sees him doing something, but he's staying still, so she may have enough time to get away. Derrick observes that this forest is the one he saw in the paintings. It must be where she's been running around since childhood. Without even realizing it, she felt the mana in the vast wilds and transferred it into the canvas. This is definitely that. Suddenly, Diela comes from behind, screaming as she tries to hit him with a rock, but he simply slashes it out of her hands. He admits that her spirit is adequate, knowing it would be hard to shake him off. She decided to strike, which couldn't have been an easy decision to make. Unfortunately, it seems that she doesn't have the strength left to run anymore, as expected. Does she have any last words? Diela smiles. Does he really think she's going to apologize or something? Unlike lowborns, she doesn't grovel, so he should end her already. Derrick is curious though. Just why is she so obsessed with bloodline? Diela asks what she would have left if they had taken away this great bloodline from her. The answer is magic. That's always been the case. But doesn't he think that she tried? No matter how much she forces, no matter how hard she tries, it never works. Magic or painting, if she gets weeded out of everything she lies, if she falls behind, then what does she have left? Without this blood coursing through her veins, who is she? Derrick says nothing and infuses his blade with mana, having heard enough of her ramblings. This is goodbye. He swings his sword down, but suddenly it hits something else. Diela, who was expecting to be hit, opens her eyes and sees that she has made an icy wall around her. Is this magic? Derrick sheathes his blade and congratulates her, and also apologizes for his rudeness. It may not be something one could truly call magic, as it's just a manifestation of mana, but she still did it. Overwhelmed by emotion, she begins to cry out, and Derrick lets her get her emotions out. After that, as he bandages her, he explains that she belongs to the School of the Wild. He heard most nobles learn the School of Regulations, but at its core, every school is essentially the same. However, it differs quite a lot in the process of understanding and mastering it. She's from the School of the Wild, so trying to learn magic through conventional means was bound to cause problems. She wasn't just trying to fit clothes that wouldn't fit. She was trying to force herself to do something impossible for her body. Diela asks how he knows she's from the School of the Wild, and Derrick explains he saw the drawings she made and could feel the mana drifting through nature, which she put into canvas. Mages born with the temperament of the School of the Wild usually sense mana in nature when young. After he is done bandaging her, he notes that she should be able to walk, and also states that even if she succeeds in manifesting mana, she still has a long way to go, and starting tomorrow, he will teach her how to manifest it naturally. As he turns around to lead her out of the forest, she thanks him, but he doesn't really care and tells her that they should go. As they go back, they talk about her paintings, and as morning comes, the first thing Diela tries is to use her magic again, but it fizzles out, proving that it is pretty hard. As she comes out of her room, a maid carrying some water gets scared, and a bit of the water ends up on Diela's dress. The maid immediately bows down and begs to be forgiven, but Diela tells her to just watch where she's going and leaves. The maid is confused. Is she not going to hit her? She's just leaving. The other maids come to her aid and are just as surprised, making them wonder what happened when she went out last night. Suddenly, Derrick gets woken up by a bunch of knocking, as Diella has come to his room, wanting to be taught how to handle the mana she manifested. She tried, but it's not working. The butler is shocked that she manifested mana, but Derrick closes the door in front of her and tells her to come back later. She immediately becomes annoyed and pounds on his door, demanding to be let in, but Derrick just climbs back into bed and sleeps, as this too is part of her training. That day, the maids begin talking, noting that Diella didn't break a single plate today, and she's not even hitting the maids as she used to. Rumor has it that she actually manifested magic. Reg, hearing this as he's passing by, asks if what they said is true. Along with Valerian, he reports this news to their father, and even the head butler confirmed it. He is relieved to hear it, but Reg tells them not to jump to conclusions about it just because she manifested magic. Valerian notes that he should be praising her, instead of still being after her, but Reg has not forgotten what she has done up until now. As a result, as small as this will not brush aside her sending to the convent. Their father shuts up, keeping his thoughts to himself as he thinks. As Derrick comes to her room, he sees her sulking, but she's not sulking. She's angry. Derrick tells her that even if she acts spitefully, nothing will change. Diella tells him she's not spiteful. She's angry. Derrick tells her that even if she pouts, they must follow the order first. Diella faces him and says she's just angry, but seeing his face and remembering what happened, she decides to let it go for now. Derrick sits down and explains that just because she manifested magic does not mean she can go around using it, or it will backfire. He's saying this because he's been through that. Rest is just as important as learning. She rested enough, so now it's time to study. Diella expected him to say that. Here comes the stuffy magic teacher who just sits in a chair all day. Derrick asks if he should teach her in a different way, as he has many ways of doing so. Diella sits down and relents, not wanting a repeat of last night. Derrick is pleased, and explains that today they will practice magic manifestation. Once she can freely use this, she will be able to learn one-star magic before long. This school of the wild does not possess a rigid system, so it's ideal for self-study. It pursues far more freedom than any school. If he's honest, this school actually suits her quite well. She asks what he means, so Derrick tells her that it's just as it sounds. Her free-spirited nature has good compatibility with this school, and on top of that, she was born with Duplain blood, which is overflowing with talent. Diella asks if he's saying she's talented, and Derrick confirms as much. She can conjure an ice wall the instant she manifests. Then she's certainly talented. Diella wonders if she's some kind of genius, and as they bicker on the details, Reg watches from afar, clearly annoyed by this development. The next day, Diella comes barging into his room, noting that she can do magic manifestation, but not get the right direction. The next day, she imbues it with cold, but something is off. The next day, she says that she can feel magic, but it's a weird sensation. The next day, Diella finds him far away, which she dislikes as she told him to stay in the annex. Does he think father let him those spellbooks to slack off? Derrick confirms they are just for that, and she grabs him, noting that she succeeded at letting the magic flow as he said. The next day, Valerian calls for Derrick, as he was hoping they would have a chat. He asks how Diella has been doing lately, and Derrick confirms that progress has been made, but learning one-star magic will likely take a lot more time. Valerian understands and explains that his mother, who went to a social gathering, will probably return sometime next week. He will warn him that the woman is not someone he can take lightly. The people in this estate are fine, but nobles, by their nature, do not like commoners holding such high positions. Derrick will keep it in mind, but is that why he called him? Valerian says that's not everything, and gets up. He's the next head of this house, and that means that he has a position where he has to embrace and include all the members of the house. To do that, he must be sincere with all of them. But that's difficult, because a person's heart can be profound. It would be nice if everyone's thoughts and values were the same, but that is just not reality. Derrick asks what he's trying to say, and too long didn't read. Valerian is sad that Diella won't play with him, making Derrick completely stone-faced. Valerian explains that he still remembers how she used to welcome him with a smile when they were little. Where would one find another angel in the world like her? So isn't there some kind of way to win her favor? Derrick wonders why he's being asked that, but Valerian notes that she follows him around everywhere, probably even now. He should also look at this too. He learned how to make dolls from the maids. Doesn't it look exactly like her? Can he feel the love of a big brother? Derrick asks if he's trying to put a curse on someone, making Valerian cry even more. Sure enough, a few days later, Valerian's mother appears, noting that she heard a lot about him, that they finally found a capable teacher. She introduces herself as Miriella Dybel Duplain. If it wouldn't be an inconvenience, she would like to send him a generous gift. Derrick immediately tells her that he's not affiliated with any house, meaning that he's a commoner, completely shocking Miriella. 1 week earlier, as Aizaleen left, she talked with Derrick, glad that they brought him to the residence. She would have liked to stay by Diela's side too, since she's her older sister, but she has a lot to take care of back in Ebelstein. Derrick understood, and Jaden notes that he should be more lively when answering nobles. But anyway, he should wrap things up here quickly and get back, or Pauline will get mad if she finds out. As the carriage rode out, Aizaleen completely forgot that her mother would return next week, and she forgot to give him a heads up. Jaden asks if that's really something worthy of a heads up, and Aizaleen can't tell him, but she's a little traditional. She immediately bursts through Duplain's study and demands to know how he dares to put a commoner as a teacher. He tells her to stop screaming, as he hasn't gone deaf just yet, but he just might now. She believes that's not the problem. This is Diela they are talking about, their beloved youngest. Duplain sighs, takes his glasses off, and explains that he doesn't like it either, but every single teacher with a good bloodline eventually gave up on her. Muriela doesn't care. How could he take in some man who is a mercenary of all things? Duplain explains that finding a magic teacher is not easy, and Derrick was recommended by Aizaleen herself. Muriela believes there has to be a standard. They have his younger brother, Flam, right? He said he was busy last time, but it's different now. Diela's just manifested magic, so if he comes and teaches her, Duplain interrupts her. Does she expect him to pull the person managing the territory and turn him into a teacher? Does she think running Ebelstein is easy work? Muriela asks about the Ebelstein social circle. Does he think the social circle is haphazard? It's a war zone, actually. Socially, a teacher matters more than anything. If word gets out that a commoner with no family name is teaching her, she will be a laughingstock. Suddenly, Valerian arrives too and tells her to calm down. Surely she didn't come here just to fight father, right? Muriela tells him to step aside. This is not something she can let slide. Suddenly, Raig speaks, noting that the question is whether the commoner mage has the capabilities of being her teacher, right? A commoner becoming a noble's teacher is not normal. Not at all. Naturally, if that commoner truly has the qualifications, then it will probably not be a major problem. That is why he wants to test the qualities of this man. If he defeats him in a magic spar, Duplain shuts him up. He's the real deal as a mage. Raig knows he's underestimating him with that look, and asks about testing Diela. If Derrick is as excellent a teacher as he thinks, the Diela, who received his instruction, must have good results too. He will personally spar with her and verify the results. Duplain says nothing, having tired of these conversations already, but as Raig leaves, Valerian follows, demanding to know what the hell he is thinking. Raig turns to him and asks if he truly believes Diela just had a complete change of heart out of nowhere, or has she forgotten who she is? Valerian doesn't care. She's his sister, his blood. They need to hold her close and protect her. Raig laughs. That blood is what's bringing their house down, as if everything she's done until now isn't bad enough. If she debuts in high society like this, it will spell the end. Valerian asks if this is truly how he feels, but Raig walks away. She was the first one who crossed the line. The best thing for her is to be shut away in that annex. He seems determined not to let her prosper. Soon, Diela barges into Derrick's room, who asks what it is so early in the morning. So Diela throws a scroll on his book, and notes that if she loses this spar, he's fired. Derrick heard of it already. Raig is a 1-star mage, and a seasoned one at that, so it will probably be difficult to win. Diela asks if this is all he has to say. Derrick explains that he's a mercenary. He does the job he's hired to do, and he takes the pay that comes with it, and he's already been paid more than enough. Diela asks if he really means that, and 1 week later, everyone, including Duplain, gathers at the family arena. Derrick bows down to them, allowing Duplain to see that he's not nervous at all. Is he that confident? If he has this kind of nerve in this kind of situation, perhaps he is not someone they should cut loose yet. As Raig walks on the stage, he thinks this is not a simple spar. He will use this to break Diela completely, and make sure she regrets what she has done all her life. Diela does the same, but seems not bear any kind of emotion. When she came to Derrick with this news, he told her that her magic growth had already gotten on track. She probably noticed too. She cannot use 1-star magic right away, but it won't take long. That's because of her blood. Diela asks why he's suddenly saying that, but Derrick has stated before, the School of the Wild is a school that is more focused, no self-study. She still asked why he was saying this now, but Derrick did not answer. Diela relented. She knew she wasn't the greatest student, but even so, she wants to keep learning magic from him. She doesn't want anyone else. Derrick remained silent for a moment and told her in advance. He doesn't know the etiquette or rules for nobles during magic spars. He's never done one, but he can teach her how to win that fight if she wants. Diela, having suffered the ridicule and scorn of everyone she has ever met, who thought that her house was past its prime because of her, immediately agrees. She wanted to win. Diela didn't come here as Raig's sister, much less the youngest of House Duplain. She is standing there, only as Derrick's student and a mage. As they both stay in against each other, The butler clears his throat. They will be applying the sparring rules of the high-rank mages of Ebelstein. Whichever side triggers General Pelham's protective magic circle first will be declared the loser. With that, they may begin. The General Pelham's protective magic circle is an accessory that activates right before the wearer would take major damage, nullifying their spell. So this is how nobles fight, huh? They use expensive accessories. It must be nice to be rich. They can basically play around with money. The duration is 10 minutes, and it seems like Raig plans to finish this fight before that. He immediately begins by chanting a powerful spell, feeling sorry for her a bit, but it's better for her to be in the annex. He lets out a powerful wind slash, and Diela doesn't move at first, but suddenly gets out of the way. Raig gets mad and uses his magic to summon 2 more strikes. Derrick thinks that she can handle 1-star magic with ease, but it seems she's a complete beginner to combat. Since she's forcing the trajectory to make it hit, she will burn through a lot of mana. Diela uses her ice wall to block these next strikes, but Raig wonders just how long that little trick of hers will work. This is nothing but a fluke, which he will break through with sheer firepower. Seeing his strikes, Diela remembers Derrick's words. Mercenaries fight differently from nobles. They do not treat fairness as virtue. They only focus on victory. It's far from a typical duel between nobles. Even if she wins, she will be criticized. Regardless, she can still create an ending where she comes out on top. Is she fine with that? Diela immediately agreed, and now she's dead set on winning. As the wind strikes come in, she continues to dodge them. Among mercenaries, there are people who win even when there's a gap in strength. Those people usually don't duel, but actually fight. Raig redirects his strike, but misses again. By fight, Derrick meant they control the battlefield by making use of their terrain and surroundings. They literally use any and all methods to achieve victory. They must even grab the advantage of the very short period where their enemy lets their guard down. Diela blocks another attack, and Raig thinks it's over, as a blast crashes down behind her. Derrick does not react, but Miriella screams out, telling the butler to end the duel this instant. Duplan tells her to shut it and sit down, as it's not over yet. Miriella notes that he saw it too. She was hit by that attack. Duplan tells her that she's wrong. He's watching Derrick, and he didn't even blink. Perhaps he had expected her to grow this much? Raig walks through the dust he created, knowing that attack should have hit. Where did she go? Suddenly he feels something coming from below, and sure enough, a strike which almost hits him appears. Raig looks at the butler, thinking that this must count as a loss since she left the platform, but he just shakes his head, meaning that she still is technically inside. They probably never even considered a petty trick like this to be used in a noble duel. Suddenly another strike appears, then another, then another. Raig cannot see her. Landing an attack on her will be difficult now. On the other hand, all she needs to do is land one blow on him. This is not how a noble fights. He sees her through the openings she made, and that fiery look in her eyes. He saw it somewhere else before. It's the same look Derrick had when Valerian grabbed him by the collar. He knew that Diela couldn't come up with this on her own. This was all this bastard's plan. It's time for him to get serious. He removes his cloak, as he will play along with this little scheme of theirs. As Raig removes his cloak, Miriella can't believe that Diela went under the platform, under all that dust and more. She asks Duplan what he is doing. He should stop the fight at once. He refuses, as no rules have been broken, so they should watch just a bit longer, he says, thinking that this just got interesting. Diela sits down, and with her concentration, she begins to slowly see the flow of mana. Using this, just as Raig is about to cast Gain, she unleashes another ice pillar toward him, forcing a dodge. He is clearly annoyed, as she's going for his feet when he begins incantations. Surely, he cannot go down like this. He looks around, trying to find something to work with, and suddenly his eyes lock onto the pillar that is holding their family flag. Diela notices that the mana flow has stopped, meaning that he is up to something. Whatever he does, the next time he begins another incantation, she will definitely get him. The butler is a bit worried, as he sees the young master climb the pillar he was just looking at. From this distance, Diela shouldn't be able to react to his mana, but trying to cast spells from here is a challenge, to say the least. There is one other way, however. He begins to push out a lot of mana from his hand, aiming to destroy the entire platform. Suddenly, he sends that mana arrow right at the end of the pillar, making it shatter into bits and pieces. Eventually, it cracks enough to snap in two, and as Raig falls down with it, he jumps, letting the pillar roughly crash onto the entire arena. Miriella screams out at her son, fearing that he may have gotten hurt, but as the dust clears, he seems to be fine. His eyes take a moment to adjust, as his body is still shaken by what he did, but eventually he sees a figure in the distance and sends another arrow straight at it. Diela sees the incoming arrow and tries to dispel it, but she doesn't have enough reach, so she is forced to dodge and continue running. Reg knows all too well that he has the advantage at close range, so with just one magic arrow, he can finish this. Just as he thinks this, Diela suddenly rushes in with a mighty kick to his chest, making the proud Reg fall to his knees and grip his chest as it tightens. Diela is not done yet, as she picks up a bunch of sand and throws it in his eyes before climbing out of the floor and onto the arena. Reg wipes his eyes, incredibly annoyed. All this kicking and throwing of sand. She's doing everything she can because she has no more mana. She's doing all of it just to win, even while knowing that it's impossible. He admits to himself that this duel was a fight to prove her worth, so as her brother, he will do his best not to shame her. He climbs out of the flooring too, and Diela is prepared for him, even if she is currently bleeding. She thinks of what Derrick told her, to think of magic like brushstrokes in a painting. Mana is the paint she is using, and spellcasting is her trusty brush. She just has to collect the free-floating paint with her brush to create a whole image. That is what magic can be for her. Diela was once amazed and watched with curiosity, and now, having understood what he meant, she begins to glow as mana permeates around her. Mana is paint, and spells are a brush. She can finally feel that mana right at her fingertips, so she uses it to draw a spear, along with other ice shards. The butler is amazed, and Miriella is shocked as Diela has somehow used one-star magic. Reg recognizes this too, as those are ice spears she is using. She's done it now though. Since she can do something like this and stand proud, he does not have to hold back anymore. Even so, this will not change the outcome of this match. He summons a bunch of arrows at his side, thinking that he is still ahead, even in one-star magic. He will hit her before she hits him, and with that, he will win. Diela suddenly throws that spear toward him, and Reg unleashes a flurry of arrows toward her as well. The two strikes connect, creating a large blast of mana and shocking everyone there. As the dust clears, only a few things can be seen. Somebody's protection barrier was activated, and both combatants are pretty tired, while Derrick watches on without much emotion to show. 1 year ago, as spring was in full swing, Duplan walked around the estate, the butler telling him about a letter that had come regarding the upcoming social gathering that was taking place. However, he came upon Diela's room and saw her just sitting alone on a chair, her expression a sad one to have for a mere child. Alas, he could not do anything, as even if he pulled her out of this state, she would likely just go back. The result of the attacks is visible now. It was Diela's barrier that activated, leaving her breathless. Her spear missed by just a few inches, even Reg recognizing that it was pretty close. Derrick doesn't really react that much. He just puts his head down and realizes that they lost. Suddenly, Diela lets out all of her repressed emotions as she begins to cry. Duplan still watching on. The hag next to him demands to know what he was thinking. Something this filthy and vulgar should not ever be considered a magic spar. It was an insult to magic itself. Duplan drowns her out completely as he watches his daughter cry, and suddenly remembers when he took part in the war. He introduces himself to the king, noting it's an honor to serve. The king had already heard a lot about him from his father. He certainly had his eyes, ones full of ambition. Now he sees that look in Diela's teary eyes too. At least her expression has improved a lot. The maids who were once fearful of her dash in, concerned for her well-being, one of them saying that she needs treatment at once, but she refuses. She slowly walks up to Reg, who cannot look her in the eye as he says that she did some good work. She bows her head once and goes away, one of the maids saying that she will escort her to her chambers, but once again, Diela ignores them and goes straight to Derrick. Her lower lip begins to quiver as tears roll down her face once again. She grasps the end of her skirt as she says that she lost, and she is sorry for it. Derrick looks at her for a bit and gets up, noting that it's all right. It's completely fine to lose. It's a part of life after all. However, she should use this frustration to climb higher and grow even stronger than before. Hearing this, Diela begins to wail again, the maid's not doing anything, but still feeling sad for her. Miriella arrives and immediately grabs Diela, noting that she cannot believe she went through all that strife. She must have had such a hard time. However, it's all right now. She should go quickly and get treated. Diela agrees, and Miriella watches on as she wipes her tears away. After that, she immediately makes her way to the unknown Derrick and begins to scream. She calls him a vulgar bastard. Does he even understand what he has done? So what if you taught her one-star magic? Does he think that he's impressive because of that? She slaps him, then grabs his cloak and closes in. He taught her nothing but cheap, dirty tricks, smearing filth all over her purity and nobility. She slaps him again and continues screaming, noting that there's a world where lowly trash like him doesn't even know exists, something with value worth protecting. Even trash like him should have this dignity. She sees Duplan approaching and notes that he saw it too, right? That was no magic spear. He was teaching Diela the most awful things. How will she grow up now with that trash in her mind? Suddenly, Duplan smacks the shit out of her, and asks if she really doesn't realize the one who is behaving the most vulgarly right now. She doesn't understand why this person is just a mere commoner. Duplan agrees. He is a commoner, all right, but he is their daughter's teacher. What parent, in this entire world of theirs, treats the teacher of their child in such a manner? He apologizes to Derrick, noting that he should forgive her. Everyone has their own way of loving their child. Derrick says nothing, and then notes that it's fine. Duplan turns around and notes that they have something to discuss separately in his study. As she watches them leave, Miriella's eyes are filled with hate, proving that a backhand would have been much more efficient. As Duplan begins to write as he usually does, he tells Derrick that he has raised Diella amazingly. As the master of this estate, he should grant him an appropriate reward, right? The highest realm permitted to a commoner is 3 stars. So does he want that? Derrick is surprised, but he hit the mark exactly. He knows him well, it seems. Even better than he knows himself, making an effort especially tailored for him. This is a 5-star mage, a Grand Duke of the nation. So when he gives out an opportunity like this, it must be seized. He agrees, as he does actually want it. Duplan notes that his achievement, teaching Diella 1-star magic, is not something to scoff at, but in Ebelstein's high society, that level of achievement is not enough to survive. Derrick notes that there are plenty of people in this estate who can guide Diella. Now that she's found the feel for it, she will flourish a lot more than before. Duplan tells him that his daughter does not need an instructor, but she does need a teacher. He puts his pen down for a little while and notes that he, as a commoner, harbors such great ambition, but he is not even permitted to dream of it. Derrick thinks that they have not spoken that much, have they? Duplan continues, asking if he knows how insulting that must feel to those lofty nobles. However, he is willing to look the other way because of what he has accomplished. Derrick thinks that even without them talking, he knows that he is looking beyond 3-star, or even 4-star. That is what makes him such a frightening individual, and all the more of a target for some. Duplan notes that if he's truly embraced that intention, he cannot remain in this place for a long time. He's probably already prepared to leave, isn't he? Derrick confirms as such, and Duplan does not want to be ignorant of his ambitions, but even so, he must teach Diella a little while longer. That is why he wants to give him the highest realm permitted to a commoner, the realm of 3-star magic. With this, Derrick is granted access to a library, and just by picking up a random magic book and reading through it for a bit, he thinks it's amazing. Some people spend their entire lives trying to obtain a single 2-star spell book, and yet, this is all 3-star spell books, all in one place. With this much, there's enough reason for him to stay in this estate for a little while longer, but he knows that if Peline finds out, she will certainly raise hell. 3 days pass, and Diella seems to have recovered, noting that she is a 1-star mage now. Derrick notes that she used 1-star magic only once, so yeah, she can be called a 1-star mage, although barely. Diella is confused. That's it. His apprentice achieved progress, and he is not at all happy. Derrick notes that it's not an achievement he has heard personally, so no, not really. Diella sighs, saying that he really isn't easy to work with, and Derrick notes that it seems she recovered over the last 3 days. He keenly remembers crying her eyes out back then, right? Diella sits down, clearly embarrassed, and notes that nobody was crying. It was just that dust got into her eyes. That's it. She also pouts a little, noting that they should have told her sooner that he wasn't going to get kicked out. Derrick feels that's enough talk. They should start today's lesson. She is growing quickly, so she will learn the other 1-star spells soon too. Hearing a bit of praise, Diella immediately turns to him and asks to repeat what he just said. Derrick doesn't want to, but explains that her growth is uncommon, to be able to use 1-star magic not long after her magic manifestation. Diella feels proud, she told him previously, that she is the kind of person who does what she says she will. So what do they start with? Magic arrow, as that seemed rather convenient to cast, or windblade, the one that Reg used, as it looked really nice. Perhaps that ice spear too, as it felt amazing. If she practices a bit more, she will be able to hit any target. Derrick shuts all of her dreams down by noting that she will actually be practicing magic manifestation. Diella asks why they aren't learning 1-star spell now. Derrick notes that there are a lot of reasons for it, but in the end, the basics are what matter most. If he were to put it simply, it basically comes down to mana. Diella relents, and says that they should do that then. If he says so, it is what it is. But she got all excited, thinking that they were actually going to do some fun stuff. Derrick looks on at her with a certain look, and Diella notices, making her wonder why he's doing this. Does she have something on her face? Derrick says that's not it. It's just surprising to see her listen so obediently. Diella becomes embarrassed and asks who he takes her for. She's respected his words from the very beginning. Derrick doesn't know what to say about that one, as when they first met, she poured diary water over his head, twice. Diella hoped that he would have forgotten that, but Derrick notes that it's pretty hard to forget such a thing. Diella tries to change the subject, noting that they are having great weather today, and magic manifestation sounds fun, so they should hurry up and practice. Seeing her try not to think about what she did, Derrick smiles. They continue training until the night. Diella is on the ground, completely exhausted, and Derrick notes that he heard she's going to get busier. As he sits down with her, she confirms as such, but she really doesn't know. They said that starting next week, she will be taking etiquette and general education classes, or whatever. Derrick asks if she doesn't think of that as a good thing. She's learned 1-star magic, so now she will be receiving a true noble's education. Diella asks if he really thinks this is making her happy. Basic noble etiquette, foreign languages, geography, history, botany, piano, and even sewing. She just does not understand why she has to learn all of that stuff. How did Aiseline endure all of it until now? Derrick notes that this is why she's called the Flower of Duplain, and why she's at the center of Ebelstein's high society. Diella says that she only wants to study magic, so Derrick tells her to do it. Duplain himself hired him, so they have plenty of leeway as is. Diella is not sure if they will really have that much time for that anymore. Derrick asks if there really is anyone who would kick him out at this point. Diella confirms as much, even if her father acknowledged him. Her mother isn't the type to just let things go, unfortunately. Derrick doesn't really understand why she wants to drive him out so badly, so Diella tells him that she's probably worried that if she learns from him, she will drift away from the noble dignity she depends on, and will end up becoming a mercenary like him. Even just looking at today's spar, its dignity is a far cry from what nobles usually do. Derrick thinks on it a bit, and notes that this is nothing special then. It seems that silencing her mother really is not as difficult as she thinks. She just has to remove her pretext. Diella wonders what he means by this. The next day, as Miriella walks throughout the estate, she wonders how she could ever meet such an indecent teacher. Her poor little girl. She just knows that one day, that mercenary boy will continue to corrupt her with his mercenary ways, and soon enough, she will go into the Ebelstein high society as a crooked woman who does not care about etiquette or anything good in life. She's about to faint just thinking about it. Even so, what could that lowly commoner possibly teach Diella? Even if her husband acknowledged him, she is the mistress of this estate, and she will find a way to remove him somehow. As she gets out of the estate though, she is met with Diella, and thinks that she will immediately hug her. Even if people say she is childish, she loves the way she runs into her arms with a smile every time. She continues waiting though, and then opens her eyes, seeing that Diella is in no way thinking of approaching her, and instead bows down, asking if she rested well last night, surprising Miriella. Diella notes that she could not leave the annex while she was treating her injuries, so she's sorry if she missed the chance to catch up to her properly. There is much she wants to speak with her about, but unfortunately, she has a piano lesson this morning. Miriella, still a bit shaken, understands. Diella bows down again, noting that she will be going first, as her general education schedule is packed. Miriella is confused. Her etiquette lessons, they haven't started them yet, right? Should they be starting around next week? Diella responds just as her sister would, confirming as such, and thanks to her generous consideration, she is very much looking forward to them. Miriella agrees and tells her to hurry to not be late for class, but everyone who is watching is left stunned. Even one of the maids drops the firewood she was carrying as Diella walks past. As she does, she tells the maid to be careful and not overstrain herself. The maid sheepishly agrees, and they all watch as she walks away, seeming like an entirely different person than the one she was previously. In the noble district of Ebelstein, Aiseline notes that it feels like Rosia's salon has been bustling with laughter. The one she is having tea with notes that she was truly worried at the last gathering, as she looked so weighed down with worry about something. Aiseline is surprised. Why now? Well, she didn't mean to make her worry. Most of what she was worried about has been resolved, so she feels a lot better now. The one she is speaking with, the second daughter of House Belmiaro, Elente, notes it's a real relief when she hears the rumor that she went outside the noble district to save someone. She was rather worried. Aiseline thanks her for worrying about her. The truth is, her younger sister Diella needed a magic teacher, so she was a bit busy because she went to find one herself. Elente keeps a calm face, but behind that mask, she wonders why she went to find someone in person. What does that even mean? Just how incredible of a teacher did that person have to be for the plain young lady to find them in person? The other girl, who is standing there, the second daughter of House Veltis, Denise, asks what she means by, for her sister. Aiseline explains that she saw Diella at the mansion not long ago, and she became such a proper young lady she could hardly recognize her. She even manifested 1-star magic, and her conduct was so neat and composed, it made her feel like she needed to work even harder. Denise notes that she must have found a good magic teacher, but behind that mask, she thinks that it's strange for Aiseline to bring up her sister like this. Aiseline confirms that he doesn't have much status, but he is exceptionally capable. It really was worth going all the way to the Belden Mercenary Corps to find that person. Both girls are taken aback by this. A mercenary, however, Alente now recalls, isn't Diela the reason the infamous cook ran away from Duplan, crying when she said the food was good? To think that the teacher not only reformed that infamous girl but even turned her into a one-star mage. A pleasant smile appears on her face, and asks Aiseline for the name of this teacher. If he is Diela's teacher, he will become more famous in the future, right? So she wants to at least know his name in advance. Aiseline is happy to share it. His name is Derrick. Just Derrick. Back at the mansion, Diela speaks with her mother, noting that Derrick is also teaching her a little etiquette, which is pretty hard to learn on her own. Melissa understands it's really admirable for her to study by herself. Her mother asks what was difficult when she was studying by herself, and Diela notes that most of it can be done, thanks to Derrick. Melissa lets out a shaky laugh and understands, but she can't stomach it. All she talks about is Derrick. Just how many times has the name come up in their conversation? Seriously? She doesn't know what he did to Diela, but she can't just let this stand. There has to be some way around this. She asks one of the maids, who says that Diela has been kind to the servants lately. She has gotten rather gentle. The gardener explains that Diela has also been in a good mood lately. She's changed so much in just a few weeks. Even the main butler finds it a bit surprising, because that kind of demeanor he saw only from Aiseline. It appears that Diela is finally trying to be a true lady. One can feel the noble dignity coming from her. That night, using a book of spells, Derrick is training. He pours out all of his mana, trying to conjure a spell, but fails, puffing and huffing from the exhaustion. Suddenly, Raig appears behind him, apologizing if he was interrupting his training. Derrick says it's fine, and asks what brings him here as they both sit down. Raig explains that he wanted to talk a bit about Diela, but before that, is what he is holding a 3-star spellbook. Derrick confirms as such. His grace lent it to him. Raig is surprised to hear that he lent it to him. Derrick confirms as such. It's a difficult level for him right now, but there is no harm in studying ahead of time. Raig remembers the words his father said about Derrick, and decides to let it go, noting that it's impressive. Derrick asks, what about Lady Diela? Did he come to see him for that? Raig sheepishly asks what teenage girls like her like these days. If he embroidered a doll that looks like her, would she like that? Derrick, remembering the travesty his other brother had made in the past, immediately denies this plan. Raig lets out a shaky laugh. He figured it would be like that. He's not saying he'd make it or anything, but, well, it's probably not desirable as well, right? They should probably head out soon too if he is done training. As they walk, though, Raig explains that he is grateful the mood in the household has been rather good lately. Even Valerian has been focusing on managing the territory, and his father doesn't show it, but he looks satisfied. Derrick wonders if it's so, as it's hard to read his feelings, and Raig laughs, as everyone would agree with him. He guesses he should accept what he needs to accept too, that people can change, especially kids at that age. He doesn't know if he simply did not realize it sooner, or if he was just avoiding it, but since Diela has changed, he's thinking he should change too. This is all thanks to him, so he wants to thank him. Derrick just gives him a curt nod, and Raig notes that Diela's magic felt like a different kind of magic. What's that about? It was like someone drawing a picture. He thinks to himself that a genius is a genius at the end of the day, right? He's a genius through and through. It shouldn't be that easy to notice the difference. He confirms that yes, Diela uses the mana operation of the School of the Wild. Raig has heard of it in the past. Derrick explains that each person's way of using mana differs greatly. Once she reaches a certain track, she will be able to study on her own. At that level, a teacher's interference can actually become a hindrance. Raig understands that level. She will eventually reach it, and her time to shine will eventually come. 2 months later, as one of the maids is embroidering her hair, she asks, "What's with the flowers on the table?" The maid explains that they bloomed rather beautifully, so she brought them to put in her hair. Diela grabs them and notes that they smell really nice. It feels like spring has already been around for the past 2 months. She is already comfortable using even 1-star magic, and she's gotten much closer with the servants too. It seems that she missed so much at this time, and it's probably all thanks to Derrick. The maid was wondering why she looked so happy today. Is it because it's magic lesson day? Diela confirms as such, and tells the maid to give her one of those remaining flowers so she can give it to Derrick. Unfortunately though, as soon as she gets to his room, her bubble shatters, and she drops the pretty flower on the ground. She asks if what Derrick just said is true, and he confirms as such. From this point forward, there is nothing left for him to teach her. This is how all seasons are. Just as there is no eternal winter, there cannot be an eternal spring. That day, Derrick went to Duplan, noting that he likely noticed as well that Diela belongs to the School of the Wild, and among them, her trait is pretty strong. If he involves himself with her further, he would only end up damaging her wings. Duplain understood, so there is no reason for him to remain at the mansion. Derrick agreed, and Duplain got up and went to his window. Thanks to him, many things have changed. Because of him, his daughter was able to grow and will continue doing so. He was so consumed with managing the territory that he has not been a good father to her. But now, he was relieved. After a bit of silence, he asked Derrick when he would leave, and he told him that he heard Azeline will visit soon, and then return to Ebelstein. He plans to ride in her carriage. Duplain understood. He may return the library key then. Derrick agreed, noting that he will also return the spell books he is currently reading, and he will pass the key to the butler. Duplain told him there was no need for that. He will return the key now. Derrick was confused, as the third-tier book was still tied to his waist, but Duplain dismissed him, basically giving him the book. Derrick remained silent for a bit, and then bowed down. As he takes the last of his walk through the mansion, Diella comes up to him, noting that he shows up out of nowhere, and then leaves out of nowhere. Derrick tells her it can't be helped, and Diella knows he will not listen, but she wants to try anyway. Will he really not stay? Derrick approaches her and leans down to face her. He will be returning to his life. As a mercenary, he will study a lot of magic too, and once she builds up the skill, she will go to Ebelstein and eventually make her debut. Diella seems saddened, but Derrick notes that they will meet then. If his level rises a little more by that time, he will be able to teach her something new again. Diella finds him annoying. He always says what he has to, so she can't say anything back. That night, Diella has nightmares, the usual ones, about being called useless, incompetent, and a waste of the Duplain name. Suddenly she wakes up, screaming and breathing roughly, calming herself down, as it was a nightmare. Suddenly one of the maids rushes in, asking what happened. She heard shouting, "What happened?" Suddenly, in her dreary state, Diella gets an idea. What if she creates a pretext? Maybe she will go back to slapping this maid's face like before, and throw tantrums. Then, will Derrick stay with her? The maid asks if she is all right. Is she perhaps feeling unwell? Suddenly though, Diella takes a deep breath and says that she is fine. She needn't worry. She is not going back to her old self. That wouldn't make her valuable. As morning arrives, Azeline takes off after yesterday's visit, asking if dropping Derrick off at the commercial district is fine. Derrick confirms as such, and she tells him to go and say his goodbyes, as they will depart soon. Derrick looks behind him and sees everyone there. Valerian asks if he really is leaving, and Derrick notes that he has to go back to where he came from. After all, Reg notes that life at the mansion must have been hard. He's worked hard up until now. Valerian tells him that should anything happen, he should contact him, as he will help as much as possible. Derrick thanks them, and then looks at Diella, who asks why he's looking like that. Did he expect her to beg him to stay? He really shouldn't get the wrong idea, as she's no child anymore. Derrick tells her that it was an honor to teach her. He can't proudly declare himself a teacher yet, but he hopes she remembers the magic she learned with him. Diella apologizes, but she will proudly announce that he is her teacher. He won't be able to live quietly anymore. He is the teacher of the great Diella Duplain, after all. Derrick just gives her a blank stare, and Diella looks away, telling him to take care of himself, and not do anything too dangerous. Derrick notes that he will be fine. She also shouldn't overextend herself either. Diella notes she's an adult already. She can take care of herself. Derrick remembers saying something similar in the past, but it only caused his teacher to embrace him and ask him to take these words to heart, the words which he will now share with Diella. She doesn't need to become an adult so early. Diella bites her lip to stiffen her tears, but eventually lets them flow a bit, and waves Derrick off with a smile, noting that they will see each other again. Derrick bows down one last time, and says that next time, they will meet in Ebelstein. As noon drapes over Ebelstein, in the mercenary building, there seems to be a fight going on with the others just cheering on. Derrick just stares at the onslaught Pauline is unleashing with a smile on his face, glad that he is back home, where he needs to be. The next day at the Belden Tavern, Jaden offers Derrick some honey wine. The kind nobles act all classy about it, but he used to love it. It's a welcome drink, and on the house only this time. Derrick thanks him, and Pauline looks at him, wondering if he was always this pale. Did he get paler after living like a noble all this time? When she heard he became a magic teacher, she figured the nobles took some kind of drug altogether. So what happened there? Derrick explains that he simply worked there. There is not much to tell. Pauline gets annoyed listening to him talking like a noble. Would it kill him to chat a bit about it? Jaden tells her that's enough, and to have a drink too. But Pauline is just annoyed she went through hell working alone because he wasn't here. Jaden steers the conversation, noting that thanks to that, Derrick must have brought back plenty of money, right? So did the plan pay well? Derrick agrees, but he has received something far more important than money. He pulls out the book he received, and Jaden wonders what this is. Could this be a 2-star spellbook? Pauline wonders how he even got something so rare, but Derrick denies those accusations. This is actually a 3-star spellbook. They immediately become scared, Jaden telling him that if he stole it, he will be dead if he gets caught. Pauline doesn't care about that though. She just wants to steal one too. Where did he get it from? Derrick wonders what they think of him, and explains that the Grand Duke gave it to him. Pauline tells him not to lie. Is the Duke perhaps looking for archery instructors too, as she wants a piece of the pie? Derrick just sighs, and lets her wear herself out. That night, as Pauline falls asleep, Derrick asks if any requests have come in lately. Jaden asks why he wants to know. Is he planning to take a request when he's just returned? Derrick confirms as such. If it's something light, like a simple subjugation, it's because he felt like he lost his edge a bit. Jaden stops his brooding, and wonders if he is even capable of losing that edge. There is always a shortage of mages in this line of work. If he wants work, there's more than enough to go around. Derrick says that he wants to start work tomorrow as early as possible. With that, he goes on a quest with Pauline, barely defeating some ogres, plundering a spider's lair and all that. Each time, Pauline suffers some kind of ailment. One night though, as they were supposed to sleep, Derrick continues practicing his 3-star spells. He almost seems to get one, forming some sort of ice from his hands, but it blows up in his face and makes a thunderous sound throughout the forest. Still, Derrick did not suffer any serious injuries. He's got the hang of most 2-star spells. However, the 3-star wall really is extremely high, although that won't deter him. Just as this spring turns into autumn, and autumn into winter, so too does he press on. One day, as they come back to the tavern from a mission, Pauline wonders how much colder it is going to get, as she can't handle it anymore. Jaden welcomes them back, noting that it's good to be young. They went to the Kent Mountains and back in this weather. Pauline didn't really want to. She told Derrick multiple times to go when it warms up. Jaden hands them 2 hot towels and says that they are the only ones who are crazy enough to bring a harpy's head back in this weather. As they both clean off, Jaden explains that since they worked hard, they will probably need rest tomorrow, but it just so happens that a request came in that fits him perfectly. By him, he means Derrick. He asks what kind of request, and Jaden explains that it's an expensive and rather easy one, though it might be a bit of a hassle depending on what he considers as such. The next day, as Derrick walks, he thinks that this request got sent from the Rohel Mercenary Corps on West Street. It's actually from Count Bellamard. They are apparently looking for a commoner to help with magic sparring. To put it bluntly, they need a punching dummy. He just goes, takes a few hits, and that's basically it. He arrives at the Noble District's magic sparring arena. Around there, Elente walks with her instructor and asks who she is sparring with today. The instructor explains that to practice offensive magic, they have arranged a commoner. Elente is not really pleased. Is he really telling her to beat up a commoner? The instructor explains that this is also part of her training. The commoner is sufficient compensation so she may practice to her heart's content. Elente sighs and says, "Sure, this practice is just beating the hell out of a commoner, like typical nobles." The instructor notes that, even so, he is someone who can handle 1-star magic pretty well. Elente says that she will be able to. She will be a 2-star soon enough. Isn't there a massive difference between a 1-star and a 2-star, like the heavens and the earth? Derrick sits down in the arena and prepares, but suddenly Elente arrives and asks if he is the one she is sparring with today. Derrick confirms as such, and introduces himself. Elente does the same, and thinks that she's heard this name a lot from somewhere, but she doesn't know where. Could someone so young really be a mage? They go to the sparring arena, and after Elente stretches, she asks if he knows the basic etiquette of magic sparring. Derrick does, and she thinks that's good. He should resist as much as he can, as she will end this quickly. Elente will do it if she has to, but if she blasts him out of bounds with a shockwave, it will be over in no time. She just doesn't want to hurt him that much. Derrick wonders, resisting as much as he can, just how much resistance is she asking for? Elente is confused. Question, is that even? Derrick explains that he needs to know how much he should resist for him to be helpful to her. The instructor shakes his head, knowing what's coming, and Elente lets out one last laugh. He sure has a funny way of talking. It's like she said, he will resist with everything he's got. Derrick understands if that is her command. Who is he to deny it? They both get ready, and as Elente begins chanting, she thinks that this commoner's breath is worth praising for mastering the 1-star rank at such a young age, but he is far too arrogant. She will make him understand the wall between nobles and commoners, so that he doesn't get hurt in the future. Suddenly, she lets out an air blast, but Derrick just weaves it and lets it go into a nearby tree, which completely shatters it. Elente is confused, and Derrick just asks what the next attack is. She naturally gets even more annoyed. It seems he did have a reason to be confident, but that doesn't mean the wall between them disappears. She begins chanting harder now, and summons a bunch of magic arrows from the ground, which she sends into a volley directly toward Derrick. In response, he lets out one small projectile that begins to weave through the arrows, shattering them completely before landing near Alente. She's shocked, not because that spell was special or anything. It's a simple spell, but he can control it to this degree? No, for a commoner, his level of magic is excellent. It seems the claim of him being a veteran mercenary just wasn't empty talk. She admits that she underestimated him, but this time she will attack even more seriously. She begins chanting a fiery spell, which begins to summon immense power around her. Derrick sees the change in strategy. She is not trying to hit him, but is planning to blow him away from the arena. For a noble to have this level of adaptability is pretty impressive. She continues summoning her power, transforming it into fiery arrows, and sends a much larger volley to him this time. Derrick, knowing this is something he cannot dodge, in response creates a shield. The fiery arrows keep pummeling him again and again and again, until the entire arena is covered in dust. Still, Derrick comes out fine, but it appears that this is not the only thing she was preparing, as Alente appears right in front of him, wielding a rather long ice spear. Derrick is impressed. At this range, there is no way to dodge it, or even deploy a barrier. Her talent is pretty nice, but he has a trick up his sleeve. With one flick of his fingers, he creates a blinding light, and Alente is forced to stop in her steps. Not only that, she is temporarily blinded. She cannot even see a thing anymore. She tries to focus and listen as carefully as she can to find his position, but suddenly she hears something pass by, just by the crook of her neck. Actually, she didn't hear a thing though. As she slowly regains her vision, she sees him throw another attack, which barely misses her by inches. She recognizes what it is. It's a delusion-type magic that makes sound disappear. He even calculated that she would rely on hearing before, after blinding her, then that first attack that missed. He should have hit her. How dare he go easy on her like that? Derrick sends the two remaining strikes toward her, so she is forced to block them, and that's what he's been waiting for all this time. He immediately closes the distance, but Alente is pleased to see this. Rapid magic manifestation is her specialty. After all, she focuses. The moment magic manifests from his hands, she will manifest it first, and end this. However, she was looking at the wrong place. As she jumps away, Derrick just smashes his foot in the ground, and she sees that from the tip of his toes, magic manifests a flurry of electricity, which once again, she is forced to block. The instructor is impressed. He seems to be from the School of the Wild, but he cannot read the flow from the perspective of the School of Regulations. As Alente catches her breath, she notes that he is a really interesting kid. She'll be honest. At first, when she looked at him, she thought he was just some blustering liar, but she was able to learn something rather interesting. Immediately after saying that, she replicates his strike perfectly, but Derrick wouldn't get hit by one of his own attacks. He weaves the magic around himself and redirects the strike immediately, forcing her to block again, but this time, he charges in, completely overwhelming her. Before anything can happen though, the instructor rings the bell, ending the match. Derrick immediately retreats and bows, thanking her for the fight. Alente bites her lower lip a bit, knowing she was about to get cooked if the match hadn't stopped. After sitting down, Alente notes that he is a rather splendid mage, but Derrick doesn't think as such. She is the one with reflexes he has not seen before. Alente notes that, seeing him flatter her like that, he must be pretty used to this side of the world. She heard he was a commoner though. Judging by his skill, he must have honed it through bone-grinding effort. Derrick explains that he has to survive as a mercenary after all. Alente tells him to save the humility. She likes hard-working people, but that old magic teacher behind her probably won't like him a lot, so he should not get on his bad side too much. Well, thanks to him, she did learn a few things. There is another sparring match at Rosia's salon next time. She might even get a good result. Derrick notes that, with her skill, there shouldn't be much to worry about. Alente agrees normally, but she is not interested in fighting small fry. The person she truly wants to beat is Aiseline Eleanor Duplan. Derrick says nothing. Guess she's gone on for too long. He may go now. As he leaves, she thinks about his name. Derrick of the Belden Mercenary Corps. She has heard of it before, but from where? Suddenly that's when she remembers that Celine said that name. Derrick is Diela's teacher. As he walks away, Alente rushes in and grabs his hand, noting that he is the one. Isn't he the one who taught Diela? As evening arrives, they go inside, and Alente gets straight to the point. If she can beat Aiseline, she will do anything. Absolutely anything. Derrick asks if she really wants to do that, and Alente confirms as such, as she said previously. Aiseline still isn't a 2-star mage yet. It would be best if she reached 2-star first, but if she can't, then she wants to beat her at the magic spar this time around, at the very least. Derrick picks up his cup of tea and notes that she has a surprisingly competitive spirit. although Elente thinks that's just dressing it up. Before, she wanted to beat Iselin so bad she wouldn't hesitate doing something unsightly. She recognizes now that jealousy is a dirty and pathetic thing. She was jealous of Iselin, and the results did not turn out well. No matter how much she gossiped behind her back and tried to dig up her flaws, Iselin only tried to understand and embrace her instead. Derrick is a bit confused. Why is she telling him all this? Elente puts her cup down and explains that she wanted him to know her sincerity, even if she had to expose her shameful side, and she has a few things she wants to ask too. Derrick tells her to go ahead, so Elente notes that Derrick staying with Duplain, he should know well enough just how skilled Iselin is, and what her skills are like too. That is why she is asking him what must she do. Derrick notes that Iselin's skill is at an astonishing level, but Elente also possesses incredible skill, so if she works hard to refine her abilities, she might just win. Sometimes you can read a person's heart just from their eyes. This young lady in front of him isn't asking him this because she wants praise. She is desperate, enough so to seek an answer from a lowly mercenary. Silence falls between them, and Derrick decides to give her an honest answer. She cannot defeat Iselin. Silence falls again as they look at each other, and Elente breaks it, noting that even so she wants to win, even if it's impossible to do so. Derrick is a bit surprised, and then Elente gets up, as he made that good-for-nothing Diela into an actual mage. Can he make it so she defeats Iselin as well? Derrick knows that it's not that there is absolutely no method worth trying, but before that there are a few things that are bothering him. Elente is pleased with that, and asks what those things are. Derrick firstly wonders, does she know how he taught Diela? Because it's not as pretty as she would expect. Elente does not know the details, but he shouldn't worry about that, as she will do anything to win. Derrick goes on to his second point, explaining that he is a mercenary, but Elente doesn't let him finish. That's what he is worried about, that people will talk and they'll sneer that a noble young lady learned magic from just a mercenary. He should listen well, as she is serious right now. She's going to become someone whose name will resound across the entire empire. If she can't even take first place in Ebelstein's social circle, that's just absurd. So he shouldn't dare to try to judge her sincerity for such a petty reason. She knows very well what matters more than pride. Derrick actually wasn't saying that. He was actually going to say that she needs to pay him, since he's a mercenary and all. Elente immediately gets embarrassed and sits back down. That's what he meant. Naturally, she will pay as much as he wants. Derrick doesn't react to her embarrassment, and thinks that if she is truly serious, then he too should reciprocate that feeling and use harsher methods this time. She needs to win, right? The next day, Iselin walks around with a bunch of other ladies in Ebelstein, noting that the upcoming gathering will also have a magic duel segment. She has heard that Lady Elente's skills have improved significantly. If that is the case, she should make thorough preparations as well. The other ladies are surprised it is time again for another gathering. Then, they must participate too. Just then, Elente arrives and notes that she is far too humble. Iselin is here, and notes that they were just talking about her. Elente knows she could hear her voice all the way from the end of the hall. After all, the other two ladies let them walk together, thinking that they shouldn't interrupt this. Elente asks if she doesn't need practice as well. Has she perhaps never tasted defeat before, especially since she is known as the shining flower of the Duplain bloodline? Iselin thanks her for her flattery, and notes that even so, her opponent this time is she, so she cannot afford to be as careless as in the past. Elente confirms that she does feel a bit more confident, thanks to her new magic tutor. He is just a commoner, but his track record is impressive enough for her to hire him. She is still surprised. It's unusual for her to personally hire someone like this. It seems she places a lot of trust in this magic instructor of hers. Elente notes that, more accurately, the one who vouched for his ability so adamantly is actually Iselin. She still wonders when she vouched for anyone, but Elente tells her to remember their last meeting, as she was vouching for Diela's old tutor, Derrick. Elente is heavily enjoying this shocked expression of hers. She must be angry, right? Probably incredibly frustrated too. The man she couldn't get a hold of is now hers. Instead, Iselin just grabs her hand, congratulating her adamantly. She is certain that she is incredibly wise and truly dependable, so she congratulates her once again. Elente just thanks her, thinking that this is not the reaction she was hoping for. But then Iselin remembers something, when she asked Diela to talk with Derrick for some extra magic tutoring, since her growth has been stagnating as of late. Diela immediately spat out her tea and denied needing help. It's probably not necessary at all. Now, Iselin wonders why she said something like that, but Elente sees this as something else when she thinks about it carefully. She must know exactly what this means, that she snatched him away from her, right? Yes, this is the anger she wanted to see, because Elente Alphone Bellamard has openly stolen her tutor. Iseline continues thinking and wants to say that Derrick might be a bit of something. Alente notes that it's getting late. They had a lovely chat today, and she will take her leave now, as today is her first tutoring session. With that, she leaves with a smile on her face. But Iseline is worried. It really shouldn't be anything serious, as Derrick isn't the type to do something truly terrible, right? Besides, everyone must know he is just working hard to make a living. That's a reputable man, isn't he? Derrick goes to Jaden with the news of his new job, noting that he will put everything else aside for now. And Jaden knows of the Earl Bellamard family. Why does his workload keep piling on like this? Derrick notes that it doesn't matter as long as he can handle it here in Ebelstein, and he doesn't even need to make a long trip to the estate. Jaden is amused that he makes it sound so easy, but can Alente really handle this? Derrick twirls his drink around and notes that it's not entirely a dead end. There might be a way through that tunnel, as long as Lady Alente can break through the 2-star level. Even if she is facing Iseline, who is well known for her strength, they can use that star-level advantage to overpower her and claim victory. Jaden would like to set that wishful thinking aside now, and asks what this oh-so-realistic plan is. Derrick notes that this is why he actually came to him in the first place. That is why he needs his help with the plan. Furthermore, to guarantee an even safer environment, they will also need Pelline's help. Jaden, hearing all of this, turns around and notes that he is planning to do something reckless again, doesn't he? Derrick is no liar, and explains that this entire plan is fundamentally dangerous. Pelline, who has heard all of this, drops down on the table with some crocodile tears, noting that it's extremely dangerous. Those nobles are absolute scammers. They scammed her completely and made her suffer and drained her coin down to the last. What will she do? Jaden, knowing what she's aiming at, notes that she should use some of this money and be done with it. That evening, Derrick goes to Alente in the training grounds, and explains that first they start their lessons in the form of live combat training. Basically, this drill will be repeated around 10 times. Only after will he dive deeper and analyze the finer details of her magic. Alente is a bit confused. Is he just going to throw her into 10 consecutive rounds of pure combat? Derrick says that he needs to observe her actual combat abilities firstly, and then move on to the more theoretical stuff. Alente is fine with it. It's very fitting of his mercenary background. She didn't hire him to sit around and lecture her about dusty textbooks anyway. Derrick is pleased to hear that she agrees, and so they will begin. After the 10 rounds, the arena is in shambles, with the dust and smoke all around the broken floorboards. Alente herself can barely stand up at this point, but Derrick remains his stoic self. He thanks her for the hard work and tells her to rest for 10 minutes. After that, they will discuss the fundamentals of magic theory. Alente asks, "Only 10 minutes?" She doesn't have a single drop of mana left. Derrick notes that if she pushes herself, there should probably still be some mana left to draw. After the 10 minutes pass, Derrick begins to teach her, noting that the shape of her arrows is incorrect. She should sharpen her focus and create 10 more arrows. Alente is annoyed that she has to do this, but Derrick tells her that if she cannot do something like this, what else is she incapable of? She is still 5 arrows short. After this, she will fire 100 more magic arrows, and Alente says that she doesn't have any mana left, but Derrick tells her to stop wasting time with excuses and create more arrows. After this, she is entirely and purely exhausted, and Derrick notes that she's worked hard this entire session, so now she can go and have dinner. He also asks if she is alright. If she truly feels incapable of continuing, giving up is always an option, isn't it? Alente immediately gets up after hearing this and asks if he's really telling her to give up after just a little training. He gave her some pretty alarming warnings before they began. She thought the training would just be grueling, but it's just regular hard work. He surely can't imagine what she's had to go through just to survive in this high society he knows of. A little training like this is nothing. Derrick wonders if that's so. Perhaps then he has underestimated her. Alente gets up on her shaky feet and explains that, since she's just returned from a social gathering, starting tomorrow, she will show him her true abilities. From then onwards, he had better ramp up the intensity of the training to an even higher level, because this light warm-up barely even made her break a sweat despite how dirty she is. Derrick asks what she means by tomorrow. Did he not tell her previously? Right now, this is merely a dinner break. Alente just stares at him and notes that he has an unusual sense of humor. But Derrick tells her that he did not take this job to be her clown. He is deadly serious about this. The next day, Derrick continues his torturous training of Alente. He pushes her mana even further, telling her to do just 10 more magic arrows, as there is still plenty of mana left inside her body. Alente wonders why he keeps increasing that number. Next, Derrick runs with her until she can't, but the training is not over, as they will be doing mana manifestation magic. By the end of it, Alente is extremely tired, and Derrick asks if she's alright. She confirms as such, pretty sheepishly, noting that this is fun, which is a blatant lie. Derrick also tells her that if it seems impossible, then giving up would also be an option. Elente laughs, as giving up is never an option. This much couldn't even be considered a workout. Derrick looks at her for a good second, and then notes that they've rested enough. It's time to spar, even though she barely just sat down. 2 weeks later, as she sits with Denise in the park, Elente is completely tired and tells Denise to wake her up when Iseline arrives. Denise confirms as such, and Elente thanks her, noting that she's been so preoccupied with magic training these days that she hasn't even gotten time to sleep. Denise is curious about something, however. Why does she push herself so far? Elente stays silent for a moment and then answers, to win, because she wants to win. That's why. Denise is pretty surprised but then smiles, noting that she will be cheering for her. In the distance, she sees Iseline, and immediately tells Elente as such, who straightens up, and, under Iseline's gaze, begins to straighten her hair. One of Iseline's other friends notes that there's a clothing store that just opened, so they should go check it out. She agrees, and they all leave. She asks Denise if they really left, and she confirms as such, with Elente sighing. She hopes that she didn't see her as she was sprawled on the table. Iseline did see her, however, and is worried, as she seemed extremely tired. She is wondering if she is actually okay. One day, as a maid was brushing her hair, she explained that a gift from House Duplain had arrived. It's a bunch of goods along with a letter. It appeared to be from Iseline. They are all things that help recover mana. These are high-quality items, so they should be a great help to her. Elente, however, tells her maid to throw them all away. They should finish preparing, as Derrick is likely here. The dear young ladies of Rosaya Salon. Winter approaches, and snow, and soon the pure white snow shall fall. She hopes they are all doing well in this cold winter. Their territory has produced many quality goods, and she wants to share them with everyone, so she is sending this. May their day be peaceful, as always. These were the contents of the letter. Derrick is in the training area already, reading his book, and he suddenly spots Elente, who seems to be early and stretching. She knows that there is no time for pleasantries and asks for his assessment. He should know well. It's been several weeks since their training began, after all, so she wants him to be brutally honest. What does he think of her? Derrick stays silent for a moment, then notes that giving up should be a good strategy too. Elente says nothing for a moment, then asks why he keeps offending her that way. Derrick apologizes if it sounded that way, but Elente is really annoyed. Did he really tell her to just give up? How can she do something like that? How can Iseline be beaten? Is that not why she hired him? Not to suggest she give up, but to teach her how to win. Derrick says nothing, and Elente continues her rant. If he is going to keep talking such nonsense, then he should just get lost, as he is wasting her time. Derrick is confused. So what if she can't win? Obsessing over victory may actually hinder growth. No, it definitely hinders growth. Sometimes one should humbly accept defeat. Tears start to stream down Elente's face, and she knows that if that is so, then she would be too pathetic. She told him already. She was just a petty, shameful person who gossiped about Iseline. She is nothing like those other young ladies. She was just someone who was petty and jealous, and she accepts that all of it. She admits how lacking and pathetic she is. How can she not? She's admitted it all. There's no reason to hate Iseline. She knows that in her heart too. But then why won't this petty inferiority complex of hers just go away? Just why? Derrick, however, knows what this is. Self-hatred. Elente always harbored some subtle self-hatred inside of her. At first, he thought it was just jealousy or competitive spirit for Iseline. But what this girl hated so much was not Iseline. It was simply herself. This fight wasn't brought on by just jealousy. It's her only escape from her self-hatred and feelings of inferiority. Derrick walks past her and notes that if that is the case, then they should win. He will make sure that she defeats Iseline. Seeing him so determined, Elente agrees, as this is the only path forward. Velmir, the official magic instructor, makes his way back to the family estate through blades of grass and wheat. When he arrives, he looks upon the Bellimard mansion, and Elente's father greets him warmly, calling him Velmir. It seems that he has returned from Ebelstein. He must have had quite the journey, so they should sit down and talk. This is Count Bellimard, Tristan Bellimard. After they sit down, he notes that it's been ages since he's seen his treasure. Elente, has she been doing well in Ebelstein? Velmir confirms that she has been concentrating even more on her magic training lately. Tristan laughs. He has never seen a young lady with talent like his Elente. That child will surely surpass even him in the future. Velmir hopes so as well, thinking that he must not let it be known that she's been learning from a commoner. That will not do well for him or Elente. Tristan also knows that he has some business in Ebelstein soon. What if he goes to find Elente himself and gives her a surprise gift? Velmir smirks sheepishly, noting that she would be extremely delighted, but in his heart of hearts, he wonders if this will really be fine. That night, at the outskirts of Ebelstein, in a nameless labyrinth, Pauline takes a step forward, unsure about this. Is it really okay to take Lady Alente into a labyrinth? Jaden shrugs, assuming Derrick must have some sort of plan. Even Alente herself is confused. Is he asking her to go into a labyrinth? Like her? Derrick notes that it's the lowest-ranked labyrinth nearby. There should not be anything difficult inside. Alente wasn't really talking about that. What is she supposed to do once they go in there? Besides, is it really okay to just go in like this? Derrick explains that she must develop her instincts through real combat. He and his colleagues will be accompanying her just in case. Alente thinks that this is pretty serious stuff, but Derrick tells her that the sparring match is only a few days away. When one is short on time, this is naturally the best method. They have an argument about that, and they go inside. With Alente a bit disgusted and peeved about this entire area, Derrick tells her to stay alert. It's a low-rank labyrinth, but she must still be careful. Naturally, she is still worried and follows in his wake. Suddenly, Pauline notices something, as there are several goblins ahead. Derrick has heard them too, and Jaden also knows that there's a big one behind them. An ogre, perhaps? Derrick knows that he can handle one ogre at this point, and Jaden laughs, noting that it depends on how much he is getting paid. Derrick tells him that they will calculate after they are done here. Sure enough, a bunch of red eyes appear in front of them, with screeches and snarls. Alente freezes, shaking a bit, as these are real monsters. The goblins charge in at the group, and Alente is completely stuck, but Derrick and Pauline move in. Derrick himself rushes in, and Pauline covers him from behind with her bow and arrow, allowing him to unleash devastating attacks against the goblins. One slash here, another fireball there, and so on. Pauline keeps covering him, but Alente is almost passing out from fear. Behind her, she hears an extremely large thud, and she turns around to see a gigantic ogre. Jaden, however, isn't fazed at all, and wonders how much he is worth. Before the ogre can strike, he cuts up his hand, ending the fight. Hearing and seeing so much death around her, Alente realizes that these monsters are trying to kill her. She could actually die. This cannot be real. Derrick screams at her to snap out of it. One monster is heading towards her, so she should remain focused. Sure enough, a goblin with a small club is coming her way, and Alente can only think that she is going to die. Derrick screams at her again that she must kill it, seeing his eyes full of trust. Alente also remembers that she admitted to feeling inferior. Instead of a goblin charging at her, she sees herself. She was arrogant, and she's built nothing on her own. All she could ever do was envy and tear others down. She crafts a magic arrow, moving despite herself, because she has come here to kill that part of herself and become even stronger. As the goblin charges in, she unleashes the magic arrow, killing it on the spot. The others look at this spectacle with a clinical eye, and the goblin lands helplessly on the ground with a thud. Alente is still shaking. Her breath is still ragged, but Derrick gives her a nod of approval. She took a step. Finally, she took a step forward. 2 weeks pass with them continuing these raids in the labyrinth, and when he has time, Derrick always pulls out a letter from his old teacher. It has been over 2 years since she left Ebelstein. She apologizes for contacting him so late. These days, she is teaching magic to the young lady of Ebelstein County. Since she has such a passion for learning, there is much for her to teach her, and she has been overwhelmed. She's been looking back on the days when she was teaching him magic while walking through Ebelstein. They were difficult, but so much freer and enjoyable. Of all the mages she has encountered in her lifetime, he was the most talented one. She wonders what level he has reached now. When they meet again someday, he should be sure to show her his new magic. From his former teacher, Katja Flamhart, Alente notices that he always reads that note when they sit down. So can she ask what it is? Derrick tells her it's just a letter from his old teacher. Alente smirks, noting that she must be quite an excellent teacher. Considering she had the character to teach someone like him, Derrick just kind of plainly stares at her, and notes that she's an excellent teacher actually. Alente just stares at him a bit too, as she was trying to tease him, but it doesn't really matter. Derrick tells her to stop playing around and focus. There are 2 days left until the duel. How is she feeling about it? Alente can't really put it into words, and she is not sure either. However, she will win. 2 days pass, and a lot of young ladies gather in the Noble District Magic sparring arena, with Azeline too. As she chats with a few of her friends, she spots Derrick and excuses herself. She goes up to him and notes that it's really good to see him, with Derrick also bowing his head down. Iseline heard that he is helping Alente with her magic, and Derrick confirmed as such, saying he is working with her house right now. Pretty awkward silence passes between them, and Iseline notes that he is the same as ever. Surely he has not been too harsh on Alente, right? Diela mentioned that he was not an ordinary teacher, and lately, Elente has been looking quite tired too. Derrick is a little peeved about this. She is concerned about her opponent. She seems rather confident, huh? No matter who her opponent is, however, she should not be careless. As they all prepare to see the match, Denise hears some gossip behind her. Obviously, everyone thinks Iseline will win, unless Elente uses 2-star magic or something. They also gossip about her losing weight to the point where her face is half the usual size, which is not nearly true, but that's how some of those women are. Iseline goes to the podium, bowing down, and seeming more graceful than ever. Elente begins to walk onto the podium as well, hyping herself up to win, as she will definitely be winning. Derrick watches from behind her. After they meet face to face, Iseline bows her head lightly, now hoping that she has been well all this time. Elente does the same, hoping that she has been well as well. Her composure at all times sets an example for her. Iseline denies it. She is not nearly as composed as before. She has never felt as nervous before a duel as she does now. Elente smiles gently and notes that they should begin right now. They both begin activating their magics, a contrast between a calm blue and a fiery orange. Elente immediately begins chanting a gigantic spell, with hundreds of fire arrows appearing in the sky, and she is controlling all of them. Back when they were raiding the labyrinth, Derrick said something to her. If it's purely a contest of magic skill, she absolutely cannot win, so she will use something else. Willpower. She has trained with him on how to scrape together mana to her absolute limit. Elente thought this was just his hobby, but Derrick denies it. Once both sides' mana runs dry, the match is decided by willpower rather than skill. She will use her magic as lavishly and grandly as possible, and drag it into a war of attrition by any means. Once that war ends, whoever can squeeze out one last drop wins. Elente asks, "What if Iseline's mana amount is greater than mine?" Derrick tells her that in that case, she will lose. Mana amount is largely determined at birth. She carries the blood of Belimard, so she should believe in herself, and in her name. Iseline is surprised. Elente is this strong already? Elente herself doesn't even flinch, and unleashes the arrows toward Iseline, who, even if she is surprised, summons a sturdy shield around herself. She will be the one who will win. As the blast of the clashing magics ensues, a large dust cloud permeates the arena, with the ladies around watching, surprised to see Elente's magic. Her mana reserves seem to have increased tremendously since the last time they saw her fight. Iseline herself is not that surprised. While her firepower is incredible, she is just blasting it out endlessly. At this rate, her mana will be depleted in no time. Her eye catches something. Elente, running through the dust cloud. Now it's her turn to attack. Iseline unleashes a precise arrow toward Elente, but this seemed to be just illusion magic, as the arrow goes straight through. Moving illusions like that would consume an enormous amount of mana. Elente doesn't care, as she is right behind Iseline, ready to unleash a devastating arrow. She got this idea from Derrick, who told her to overwhelm Iseline's field of vision with flame arrows, then use illusions to deceive her. She should then get in close and shoot ice spears from a close distance. Even a skilled mage would show an opening and fall. Her opponent is not just any skilled mage. Iseline, sure enough, is not that flustered. Ice spears at this range would not work, and there is no time to deploy protective magic. If that is the case, she has to do something else. She begins pouring mana into a ball of magic, and Elente takes this as an opportunity to strike. Iseline, however, finishes pouring mana into the ball, and then uses it to propel herself backward, making Elente miss, and getting them back to square one. Elente herself is shocked, as she did not expect to see something like this. Iseline, though, thinks that was close. Now she understands why Derrick said that she shouldn't let her guard down. In terms of skill level and her way of applying magic, everything about Elente changed. She will also push forward with firepower. She is confident in such an exchange. She summons a bunch of ice spears out of the ground without even a word of incantation, surprising the ones watching. Derrick himself, however, is not impressed. It appears she took the bait. Iseline admits that Elente's growth is remarkable, but Elente herself is not worried at all. She simply swishes a finger behind her, and from the sun's view comes a flaming arrow. Iseline can't even hope to see it, and wonders if Elente can block something like this too. Using her magic strategically, Elente unleashes the fire arrow right through her ice spears, and they begin breaking off one by one until she is left with nothing. Iseline is shocked by this. Since when did she unleash a flame arrow? She couldn't sense either the spell incantation or the flow of mana. Perhaps it was from back then. Did she hide one arrow at that time? Was she even prepared for a moment like this? Elente, in a show of jest, lets the fire arrow fall right next to Iseline, smirking confidently. Iseline herself knows that she cannot read her. She has no idea what kind of move she'll use next. The other young ladies are impressed too, with Denise also agreeing this time. Elente herself thinks that now this is pretty doable. She is overpowering Azaline right now, isn't she? Azaline catches herself, as she cannot win under these conditions. With tactics and boldness, Elente is a step ahead. She calms down her breathing, as if to reset the conditions from the very beginning. Derrick was waiting for this, as this is where the match truly starts. Azaline lets out the air from her lungs, and she begins channeling incredible power throughout the entire arena. Elente wonders what this is all of a sudden, as it feels like mana, but then she can no longer feel any surrounding mana. Derrick saw it. It was only for a brief moment, but the surrounding mana vanished. Mana alignment is a phenomenon where the overwhelming mana momentarily controls the surrounding mana. When a single mage exerts mana beyond their limit, the mana in the vicinity undergoes alignment. In short, Azaline has now exceeded her own limits in just a moment, allowing her to cast a gigantic 2-star fireball. One night, as Elente was resting from a trip to the labyrinth, Derrick came over and offered her some water, as she should really be replenishing her fluids. As she accepted the water, she noted that she really is unsure. Can she truly beat Azaline? Can she win just a week or a few weeks after training? Derrick told her that she would win. To be more precise, she would win in a certain sense. The crowd watches with gasps and awe as Azaline summons a 2-star fireball. Elente is shocked too. This was not the situation they were expecting. She looks over at Derrick, wondering what she should do, but he just nonchalantly stares at her, making her even more confused. He should stop making such a stupid face and tell her something useful, but she does not have time to react. The fireball begins flying toward her. Protective magic is out of the question. She cannot block a 2-star spell, and ice spears won't work either. She knows it after all. It's impossible to beat Azaline, someone like her. In a show of unrelenting stubbornness, she does something completely unexpected. Using the same technique Azaline used to get out of the fireball's way, it still hits the area pretty roughly, and sends her flying and skidding on the ground. But she is fine. Azaline is shocked as she breathlessly reprimands her harshly for the amount of mana she just used. She dodged something like that, and she used that exact method, which she had only seen once. Derrick looks at Azaline and sees her lack of experience. A 2-star magician who is inexperienced is nothing but a monster that devours mana. Azaline recognized Elente's efforts and talent, and she is now going all out. That's her way of showing courtesy and respect to someone who works so hard against someone like her. Elente now understands what Derrick was thinking. If she can endure something like this, then she will win. Azaline summons another fireball, this one much smaller since she doesn't have that much mana, and throws it at Elente. Even if it's smaller, the crowd recognizes that it's much faster than before. Elente rushes around it, dodging it like that, but Azaline forces herself to redirect the fireball right in Elente's way. She is not completely helpless. She puts all of her force in her hands and jumps up, making the fireball miss completely. The sun behind her cascades, not allowing Azaline to see what she is doing fully, but it's pretty clear that she is summoning an ice spear. If she can do this, Azaline won't be able to read her attack trajectory. Using a protective shield barrier will just waste more mana, so what will she do now against the spear of ice? Azaline puts her hands to the ground too, and summons a simple magic manifestation, an ice shield. Elente knows she used up all her mana casting fireball twice, and controlling them too. It's pretty clear to everyone that Azaline is completely spent. Derrick thinks that it's almost over. Elente herself thinks that it worked. She has cornered Azaline, and there is no way she has any mana left. With her mana, she can still cast Magic Arrow or Ice Spear at least 2 or 3 more times. That should be enough. She has definitely defeated Azaline this time. Azaline somehow unleashes another fireball, but this one is not a real ball. It's more of a sphere, and because of the knockback she has incurred, she isn't able to control it, and it just flies helplessly in the air. Elente reacts with nothing. Surprisingly, her face completely placid. Azaline begins to shake, thinking that she just needs to do it one more time. If she can do it one more time, then she can definitely win. She herself can see that the sparks of mana she has left are nowhere near enough. Elente just looks down at her for the first time in forever. Azaline Eleanor Duplain. Most can say for certain that there is no noble lady in the whole of Ebelstein as noble as she. Where there is light, there is bound to be a shadow cast by that light. And that shadow was where Elente always stood. She used to throw gossip at her, thinking that she was just a pampered noble lady. Everyone was whispering behind her back like this, so what makes her think that she is any different? She knew that she would turn around and throw a pathetic, frantic tantrum that would prove her so. However, Azaline never did. She just smiled. She is a gem that shines brighter the more one tries to cut it down. Elente realized that she was cast down, obscured by that very light, into an abyss of inferiority. Even in there, she sharpened her blade. her tongue, so that someday she would truly become a better person than her, and prove to herself that she would escape from this endlessly hollow abyss that resides in her chest. That's why Alente is now completely stuck. The noble and beautiful Azaleen, with disheveled hair and covered in dust, even after rolling on the ground helplessly in front of all of these people watching them. How can she make such a face? Well, it seems that she does not have an image of herself that she must protect. She always did her best at what she did without even trying. Even now, the crowds cheer for her, screaming that she can do it. Alente prepares a fire arrow and looks at Derrick. Can she really beat Azaleen? He knew that she would win. He told her so, but now she understands. This is it. Even if she wins this fight, in the very end, she would still be stuck here, in her endless abyss of inferiority. As Azaleen tries to recover her mana, Alente lets out a placating and very fake sigh, noting that it seems that she has run out of mana too. As expected, she is no match for Azaleen. She bows her head, admitting defeat. It was a great sparring session. Everyone from the crowd cheers for Azaleen, thinking that she is cool, and Alente smiles at Azaleen, a smile that does not quite reach her eyes. Naturally, the young ladies gather around Azaleen, congratulating her for winning the spar, and for doing 2-star magic. But her gaze is on Alente, who immediately goes to Derrick and asks if he saw it clearly. Was he surprised? She is someone who knows how to admit defeat too. He should have seen Azaleen's face when he did it. She did it. Derrick asks how it was, and Alente knows that her eyes got really wide. Her face couldn't have expressed her surprise any more clearly. Even the always composed Azaleen can make a face like that. It was such a sight. She got to see something like that thanks to him. She even got to feel this sense of superiority over Azaleen. She felt great today. The ending was a bit of a shame, but it wasn't bad, right? She is a pretty fast learner, so he shouldn't try to find fault for no reason. However, she stops her placating rant as tears begin streaming down her face, Derrick seemingly staring right through her. Alente can't stop the stream now, and she crouches down, holding her legs up to her chest. She wonders what this is, as she is no child anymore. Derrick sighs. She did flawlessly. She did extremely well. Alente covers her face and notes that, if she is honest, she wanted to win, but he knows that, as she was about to put an end to it, she saw something. Even if she were to win, she'd still be in that same place. She'll just always go back to that miserable place again and again. She realizes now that's just kind of the person she is. Even in the midst of all that, Azaleen looked really noble. Well, it seems that she is superior to Azaleen in one thing, her inferiority complex. Derrick tells her that he's not any different either, so why does it matter if she looks pathetic? If she does not have the courage to look so pathetic, then she cannot get any stronger. This makes Alente see Derrick in a different light. She is still far away from Azaleen, but at least she did not get stuck in her pit of inferiority today. After the ladies depart from Azaleen, congratulating her one last time, Denise approaches too, noting that she has achieved another accomplishment. She felt goosebumps all over herself the whole time watching it. Azaleen, however, knows she did not win this sparring match. Denise naturally knows, as is evident by her smile. In terms of magical capacity, she thinks she is far superior. Azaleen does not think so. Even though she could not entirely offset that difference in capacity, Lady Alente was ahead of her in every way. To be able to advance that much in such a short time, she knows the reason. She calls over her maid and tells her to send a letter to the main house, as she needs Derrick. In his estate, Duplan hears about Dresd's wolf tale. He is wondering what a 6-star travel pass is doing in Ebelstein. Valerian tells him that the reasons are unknown, but it seems the customs agreement was moved up earlier, likely in response to Sir Dresd's movements. Duplan understands, but he wonders why the Count of Bellemard was coming to Ebelstein of all places. But it seems that it has something to do with Dresd. If it's someone at the pinnacle of searching arts, one who possesses foresight, there must be a reason. Valerian also notes that a letter arrived from Azaleen. They sent a request to find a magic teacher. Duplan wonders why he can't just find one for her, but Valerian explains that the thing is, she specifically asks for Derrick, and there is a bit of a problem. Derrick is currently at the Bellemard estate teaching magic to Alente. He is thinking of sending over a butler to actively lead the negotiations. Duplan says that there is no need. He has to go to Ebelstein because of the Dresd matter anyhow, so he will handle it while he is there. As they rest after the bout, Alente tells Derrick that she will be resting a while from studies or whatever. She just needs a break to clear her head. Is he going to keep working for the Beldung Mercenary Corps? Derrick confirms as such. Alente puts her foot on his under the table, leaning closer. He will come again if she calls for him, right? To teach her magic. Derrick looks at her, and then agrees he is not sure if there is anything left for him to teach, however. Alente notes that this is some uncharacteristic humility coming from him. but she is glad that the winter season is finally coming to an end. It was a long winter, wasn't it? One night, Derrick returns to the mercenary corps. The next day, Tristan makes his way to Ebelstein in the late morning. Elente is still resting, and someone knocks at the door. She immediately covers her head with her pillow, as she specifically told the maid that she was resting, so no lessons today. The maid tells her it's not that, and it would be wise to come and see for herself. Elente gets out of bed, pretty annoyed, as she gave out her orders. But then, as she opens the door, she sees her father, who knows that it's been a long time since he saw his pride, his jewel, and his treasure. Elente immediately closes the door in front of him. She wonders why he is here in the first place. She opens the door again with a sheepish smile and asks, what brings him all the way here? She will just change her clothes and come out, so he should wait a moment, and she then slams the door in front of him once again as he is speaking. After they get out, they go elsewhere to talk. Tristan notes that Aisline certainly wouldn't have been an easy opponent. Elente confirms as such, but she learned a lot from her. Tristan understands that if that mercenary fellow teaches that well, perhaps it would be best to keep him exclusively at Bellemard. Elente doesn't know about that, as the others will be opposed, but Tristan tells her not to worry. Is there anything he would not do for her? She should just trust him. Derrick continues his conquest of the labyrinth with the others, taking out goblin after goblin, but suddenly, Derrick feels something different about his mana, and he attempts to unleash a 3-star fireball, which lights up the entire area and shakes the mountain range with thunder. That evening, after they return to the company, Pauline tells Jaden that Derrick almost died, and she is extremely annoyed by it. Just why are all mages like this? Why try using a 3-star spell while hunting goblins out of all things? Derrick explains that he felt a strange sense of incongruity in the middle of it, just like when he reached 2-star, so he attempted it. Suddenly, someone speaks from behind, telling him that there is no need to be anxious about being stuck. There is no need to force his way through. Didn't the School of the Wild originally pursue a natural flow of things? Naturally, such advice doesn't work on mages like him. At this point, Derrick certainly couldn't even feel a trace of mana from this man, but the person standing before his eyes is definitely the first and greatest 6-star search-type mage, Dresd Wolftail, the Wandering Spirit. He tells them that if they have any decent alcohol, they should bring some out as the fatigue from his travels has piled up. Meanwhile, Diella continues training on her own. She summons an ice spear, then another, then 2 more, but they eventually begin to get wobbly and break. She sinks to her knees a bit. This really is extremely grating. Suddenly Rhaeg appears. He thought that she had grown up a bit, but it seems her temper is exactly the same. Still, she succeeded in drawing out 5 ice spears. Is it thanks to that good teacher of hers? Diella scoffs, and knows that it's because she's good. What does that selfish Derrick have to do with it? Rhaeg notes that it seems Aisline is planning to hire said selfish fellow as her magic teacher. Diella is shocked. What if she gets treated the same way she did? Rhaeg tells her not to say things that might be misunderstood. He heard at the ball recently that Elente also wants to keep employing Derrick. It seems he turned a rascal like her into a human being, so no wonder it's popular. Diella immediately wants to snap back and tell him that she's not a rascal, but she admits that she was one. Rhaeg notes that perhaps it would be better if Derrick chose Aisline. That way, they might be able to meet again somehow. The Derrick she wants to see so much. Diella immediately blushes and asks who said that she wanted to see him. That kind of selfish guy. Rhaeg will take her very shaky word for it, but the rumors about Derrick must have spread quite a bit by now. He hopes the number of competitors doesn't increase any further. Derrick looks at Dresd as he takes a swig of his wine, wondering why a mage of this stature is in a place like this. Dresd turns his head to him as he finishes and asks if his name is Derrick, which he confirms as such. Surprised that he knows about him, Dresd notes that, if it's not much trouble, they could talk for a moment, just the 2 of them, and seeing nothing wrong with it, Derrick agrees. They go outside, where the streets are empty, and as they walk, Dresd explains that his magic talent is far too ambiguous even for him. He is sure it's something he has never heard before, since his skills are pretty outstanding. So why is he working so hard? What does he hope to achieve in learning magic? Derrick tells him how it is. He does not have any grand ambitions or something like that. He just feels that since he's grasped even a thread of talent, he's simply curious to see how far and wide he can go. Dresd seems to like this answer, as a small smile plays on his lips, and tells him that, as a commoner, if he dreams of reaching a higher realm than he is at now, he is lacking a bit as he is. Would it be alright if he helped him? Derrick is a little confused about this proposal, and thinks about Dresd. He was born a commoner, and he had already reached 2-star by the time he became an adult. By the time he started a family, he had reached 3-star. The commoner-born mage became a spiritual pillar for others. To the commoners around him, his village became an ivory tower for commoner mages. Yet the very same year that he became a 4-star, on a dreadfully rainy night, he lost his family as they had been murdered. This was done by a noble, a count to be exact. His butler told him that Drest had gone into hiding, and that those arrogant commoner mages had quieted down too. The nobles found those vulgar things getting scared and tucking their tails so easily, so why would commoners be so greedy for magic in the first place? Before he could say more, the head of his butler was cut off by Drest, with a single swing of his fingers. The count tried to charge at him, but Drest simply cut both of his legs off, causing him to fall down in a worthless lump. He began crawling away, begging to be spared, but there was no mercy in Drest's soul anymore as he cut off the count's tongue and tortured him for hours. After that, for 30 long years, he lived on the run from the imperial family and even the nobility. However, when Drest surpassed the 5-star realm and became a 6-star mage, the imperial family finally realized something. If they kept him an enemy, the kingdom would be in danger. So the imperial family acknowledged that Drest's revenge was pretty justified and protected their own authority by granting him a title. Thus, Drest became a man who received the noble title solely through prowess, and he can be taught by such a man. Naturally, there is no reason to refuse. Inside of the Edelstein Noble District, Clyon-Hehal Central Conference Room, a meeting seems to take place. Someone tells Duplain that if he plans to expand north of the Belkos Peninsula, he should be careful of the rebels in the White Zone. If necessary, he can dispatch his knights to assist him. This is the Grand Duke Veltus, Andalov Kalok Veltus. Duplain looks at the papers and asks, the knights he speaks of, could they be those lowly mercenaries? Veltus naturally gets annoyed and projects an aura of animosity, noting that it must be rather difficult for him to manage such a vast territory with only private soldiers. Giving it up is an option too, and Duplain also gets mad. Tristan tries to calm the situation down between the two of them, noting that the meeting is almost wrapped up anyway. Since they've come all this way to Edelstein, why don't they go see their children's faces right now? Duplain is distracted, and notes that, come to think of it, he heard his daughter Elente fought on par with his Isolane. Tristan confirms this, though she unfortunately lost. It seems that Elente is finally letting her talent bloom. With a bit more training from a good instructor, she will be able to surpass Isolane. Duplain flinches a bit at these words and agrees about the instructor. He means Derrick, doesn't he? On the contrary, if he were to become Isolane's instructor, Elente would never be able to surpass Isolane. Naturally, Tristan gets annoyed and laughs a bit shakily. He wonders if such a thing would ever happen, since his bond with Elente is quite deep. Duplain tells him that he is not the type to be moved by personal ties. It seems he has not grasped his character at all. Veltus stands a little confused, wondering who this Derrick is, that these two are so desperate to get him. Maybe he should tell Denise to look into him as well. After a while, at Bealden's Terre, Tristan makes his way there, and asks the commander if he is the commander. After giving him some refreshments, Tristan sits down and notes that, since there was no reply to the letter his head butler sent personally, he has come in person. Jaden is a bit sorry about this. The thing is though, Derrick has been missing for a few good days. They have been asking around and searching for him as well, but a few days ago, he said he was refusing all requests, and then just vanished. Tristan is confused. Has Duplain already snatched him up, perhaps? Or Veltus? No, there was no such information from his informants. It seems that he will have to find him personally. In the outskirts of Edelstein at the Veltus residence, Denise begins reading a letter and asks when it arrived. The maid says that it arrived early this morning. They say the patriarch sent it with great urgency. The letter basically tells her to hurry up and find a man named Derrick and take him in as an instructor. Denise knows why he is in a hurry, because that mercenary's value is at its lowest right now, and it will naturally grow. However, this is annoying, as today is a very important day. Today is the day she has been waiting for so long, the day the new book by the great author Rayleigh from One Piece, The Lady Submits to the Duke's Cold Grand Duke's Ice Greatsword, has finally been released. She's been dying to know what this Ice Greatsword is, but it's pretty clear. Well, what can she do about it if she doesn't listen? Now he will just nag at her more later, so she tells her assistant, Bella, to prepare her clothes as she is heading out. She has someone to find after all. Drest and Derrick are in a literal hole in the mountain, which seems like a prime chilling spot. As they meditate, Drest tells Derrick to close his eyes and release his mana in a fine mist, then feel the mana as it touches objects, and then bounces back. Derrick begins doing just that, and he begins to see without his eyes. Drest tells him that what he is doing now is the basics of search-type magic. At 1 star, it's simple threat detection. From 2 star, he can track locations and detect magic. At 3 star, he can see through disguises. At 4 star, he can see through an entire opponent. At 5 star, he can read minds and communicate with the dead. At 6 star, he will gain the ability to see the future. Derrick is confused, Actually see the future? Drest confirms as such. He saw the future and came to find him because he needs him. Derrick is now wondering what exactly is going to happen to him. Drest notes that he knows of a man named Valerian, right? He is the eldest son of House Duplain. Before he reaches adulthood, he will dabble in necromancy. That is why he must be killed. Derrick stays silent for a moment and asks why he would dabble in necromancy. What exactly is he planning? Drest apologizes, but he cannot tell him any details. That is how the future works. If one learns everything recklessly, the days ahead will become even more unpredictable and change in pretty complex ways. If there is one more thing that he can tell him, it is that he is destined to die. Derrick, however, doesn't seem to be very surprised by this, but this is because he said he was destined to die, not definitely die. Drest smiles and agrees. He does not wish for his death either. He must not die, so he will make it so that he doesn't. To survive, he will have to become strong. He channels a bit of mana into his hand and says that he has to become overwhelmingly strong. With that mana channeled into the sky, he clears the clouds and lets the moon shine through a small hole in the clouds. That same morning, Denise read the letter. She gets into the city and comes out of her carriage with everyone staring at her. She tells the carriage driver that she is going to walk from here so he can stay and rest. As they walk, Denise asks Bella why everyone is staring at her. Is it perhaps because she is so pretty? Bella just gives her a long side eye and tells her that her room is always messy. She barely washes, and she lies around in a heap of books. She is basically a NEET, so her usual self is quite a sight too, but she thinks she's even worse when she's like this. Denise notes that she's so good at joking, but Bella was not joking at all. Anyway, shouldn't they hurry a bit? If another house takes that man named Derrick, her father will be displeased. Denise tells her not to be worried. No matter how slow she is still faster than the others. Bella tells her that she's always late preparing for lessons, and Denise immediately changes the subject. Derrick rejected all the requests and went into hiding, right? He is not someone who hates money. So why is that? Does something more important than money appear? For someone who handles that level of magic at such a young age, if it's something of greater importance than money, it is definitely magic. He either found some sort of great grimoire or a teacher. If that is the case, he would not have the time for mercenary work. So of course, he would reject requests. But that mercenary left the Duplain mansion on his own accord, did he not? There's no better place to train magic than there, meaning he's found something even better than the Duplain mansion. Before she can wonder who it could really be, they go to Bealden's Tear, where Jaden welcomes them. He's surprised to see that now even a young lady is coming here personally. He immediately tells her that they don't know where Derrick is either. 3 teams have already come and gone this morning, so there is nothing more he can tell them. Denise, however, wonders. Drest was here too, right? That old mage. Jaden sheepishly asks what, and that's all the confirmation Denise needed. They should go, as she needs to check the carriage transit records. They go to the Coachman Guild in the commercial district, and as they read the records, Bella wonders how she knew that Drest had visited. Denise notes that it was pretty obvious that the mercenary left a 5-star mage on his own accord. He is serious about magic, yet he abandoned a 5-star, meaning that one would need to bring a 6-star to pique his interest, right? She also happens to know that a 6-star mage was coming to Edelstein, and it was a shot in the dark that old man fell for beautifully. Could it be that she really is smart? Bella gives her a side eye again, and notes that she never uses her brain, so she is not really sure. Denise tells her that she is being awfully witty today, and notes that she is rather exhausted from being so capable. She wants to be incompetent too. Bella wonders if she enjoys her talking back to her, and Denise wonders why she always sees her pretty side. Bella lets it go like this, and notes that even if they find him first, will they be able to recruit him? She heard even the great Duplain and Bellamard are after him. Denise notes that this is basically the easiest part, as she has a plan, and that plan is a honey trap. He's a hot-blooded young man, isn't he? And rejecting such a beauty would be impossible for him. Bella narrows her eyes as she stares at Denise, and tells her that her competition is Lady Osline. Denise wonders what she means by that. She is prettier, right? Bella is a little annoyed that this is the only thing she actually listened to, but whatever. It seemed that she found it. It was about a week ago. A boy in a robe with a travel pass went to the outskirts of Ram Hill near the Laspa Great Cave. Eventually, they arrived there, and Drest immediately recognizes their life force. He tells Derrick that someone has come. They seem to be from House Veltus. They look like his guests, so he should go out. Sure enough, it's Denise and Bella, with Bella noting that she thinks it's better if they do not go further. Maybe they should report to the Patriarch and come back with soldiers. Denise refuses, as she wouldn't be able to take credit if she did that. Besides, what if they move the soldiers, and another house catches wind of it? That would be like doing all the work for someone else to take the credit. Suddenly though, Bella sees something in the dark, which seems like a monster to her. Denise immediately covers for her, and thinks that this place was supposed to be completely cleared. She is not confident in offensive magic, but she has to try, as she begins to chant. Then Derrick comes out of the darkness and asks what brings her to this humble place. She is a bit surprised at first, but then a slow smile plays at her lips, and she thinks that it's time for her to make him hers. After confirming each other's identities, Denise does something truly blasphemous and shows her ankles, noting that it's a relief she came here because she really wanted to meet him. She wanted to have a conversation with him, even if just once. Derrick just stares at her and notes that this is indeed a pleasant conversation. Bella can barely stifle her laugh, and Denise naturally gets annoyed, taking a step closer and pulling her dress up even further. She notes that she cannot tell him how many times she's met him in her dreams. She heard he's quite an elegant mage, and has an instructor too, so how should she put it? If she could be taught by someone like him, she'd be very, very happy. Derrick immediately cuts through her bullshit and asks why she's speaking in such theatrics. Is she practicing for a play or something because of the cave echoes? Denise just stares at him while Bella barely fights back another laugh, and Denise understands the shy, beautiful girl act doesn't seem to work on him. As he turns around, she grabs his attention again, noting that she felt a lot after watching the duel between Iseline and Elente. As one of the Rosia trio, she felt like she was the one being left behind. She was anxious that she would eventually be left in the dust. If everyone else grows while she's staying in the same place, what would she do? She grabs Derrick's hand and pleads with him to save her. Denise thinks that, since they are so close, he can probably feel her breath. His heart must be thumping right now, right? He wouldn't refuse. Derrick, however, takes his hand out of hers, and notes that he is not so sure. From what he is seeing, she does not seem to have much interest in magic at all. Earlier, they mistook him for a monster, and she chanted an ice spear, right? It was extremely clumsy, to say the least. The flow of mana, the speed of the incantation, not a single thing was prepared. Her basic mana capacity is excellent, but it is not organized in the slightest. That just shows how little she usually practices magic, and Bella adamantly agrees behind her. With this, Derrick leaves her with a piece of advice. At least, in front of someone who is serious about magic, she should not speak of sincerity with lies, as they would definitely take it as an insult. He does not know why she needs him, but it does not seem to be for magic, and he does not accept requests from people whose true purpose he doesn't know. Denise tells him to wait a moment and tries to clear things up, but Derrick tells her to just find someone more capable than a lowly mercenary, who would be more fitting for her status. With that, he retreats back into the cave, leaving Denise with her thoughts. As the sun begins to descend, Denise makes camp near the cave, with Bella wondering if she's really going to be okay. Denise tells her that if she were to back down now, another house will definitely snatch him away, and she has to win him over as soon as possible. Bella understands, but she shouldn't push herself too far. Before she goes, though, Denise tells Bella that she knows Bella suffers because Denise is always selfish, but this is such an important favor. She really hopes she'll do it for her. When she comes by tomorrow, she should bring Volume 4 of the Duke's Pillar of Ice Melts the Commoner Lady. Bella looks at her with an exasperated expression. The next day, as Derrick continues meditating, Denise approaches Derrick with a bunch of stuff, including food. He asks what this all is, and she says that it's nothing much. There is nothing she can do for him, so she will assist him so that he can focus on his magic. Derrick tells her plainly that doing such a thing will not change anything, but she says it's fine. She feels like she is growing just by watching, so he shouldn't mind her. Denise notes that, if he is the least bit human, he will eventually feel fond of someone giving so much. He should like her as much as he wants, be grateful as much as he wants. In the end, she will be the one laughing. If that is the case, though, Derrick accepts this gratefully, though he still will not be her teacher. Denise is surprised to see that he's rejecting her while eating right in her face. Just what kind of guy is this? The next day, she brings some food and magic crystals, and Derrick thanks her, but he still won't become her teacher. She brings the actual head chef of the estate, who said he'd prepare a full meal for him, and Derrick thanks her, but he still won't do it. The day after that, she brought a refined ore she thought might be useful. Derrick thanks her again, but he still won't do it. The next day, Denise has had enough. That bastard is just a selfish exploiter. If she's being this nice, shouldn't he put up a little act? At least at that moment. Bella approaches and notes that they have a little problem. The head butler of House Duplain is coming this way. Denise notes that they should hide now and leave the tent here. Maybe they'll think it's Derrick's or something. Sure enough, the head butler approaches with a bunch more maids and some guards as well. Denise is wondering if they're going to war or something. She follows them into the cave, where Derrick seems to be reading something, and notes that to become Azeline's magic instructor would definitely be an honor. With Denise getting extremely annoyed after hearing something like this, the butler understands and asks whether he would be ready to depart with them post-haste. Derrick refuses, confusing Denise. He will only come after he finishes his training, though he is not sure when that will happen. The butler asks if he would reconsider if they increase the payment, but Derrick apologizes. At his current level, he cannot be of much help to Aiseline, and he does not wish to teach magic half-heartedly, making Denise stop and think about what she's been trying to do. Back at the Duplain residence, Aiseline is informed about Derrick's whereabouts. Yesterday evening, the head butler went to see him personally. Aiseline notes that she should have been told, as she was going to ask him herself, but she must go now, so they should gather the swiftest soldiers. The maid notes that the terrain is pretty rough, but Aiseline does not care, as this is about welcoming her new teacher, so she should go in person. As Denise and Bella wait outside, she sniffles a bit and notes that they should head back tomorrow morning. Bella notes that she certainly gave up quickly because she is smart, quote-unquote. Denise gives her a side eye and notes that she actually thinks she's a fool, isn't she? Bella denies it. Of course not. What is she even saying? Denise tells her that she used to achieve anything once her stubbornness kicked in, but this time she doesn't even want to be stubborn anymore. She just feels drained. Bella tells her that the mercenary is not someone to be moved by a person's background or money. He seems to move based on a much more important value than that. Denise remembers his words about not wanting to teach magic half-heartedly, and remembers Elente's and Aiseline's match. She wonders why everyone is so sincere all the damn time. Derrick continues his training, but then stops as he hears someone arrive. It's Denise, who apologizes for interrupting his training and asks if she can sit next to him. Derrick just stays silent in response, and notices that her eyes look rather different today. Denise looks around with half-lidded eyes, and apologizes for being a nuisance all this time. She is going to stop. Derrick thanks her for her kindness, and hopes that she will find a good teacher in time. Denise doesn't want that. She hates magic. It's all just politics and acting. She only tried to keep him on their side because he is famous, but he is way too proud for that. Since he will go to Aiseline anyway, she should just step out, right? Derrick asks why she hates magic, and she explains that she used to like it quite a bit in the past, but not really magic itself. She just liked being praised for it. Magic was just a means, and what she wanted in the end was praise. She studied hard while being called some kind of genius, though. One day, a thought suddenly occurred to her. Why was she doing this? What is she even doing? So she stopped. That's basically all. She got tired of even praise at one point. She is surprised that he was actually listening. She thought she'd be talking to herself by now. Before leaving, Derrick tells her to have safe travels, and she pouts, noting that she's rather jealous as she gets up. She's jealous of someone like him who does not question the notion of hard work. He will become a great mage in the future, won't he? Well, if they ever meet again, he should at least say hello. The next morning, as Aiseline arrives with a bunch of soldiers, Denise looks at her as they depart, and then returns to the Veltus mansion. However, upon getting there, she is informed that even Aiseline was rejected. She guesses that it's because his training isn't over yet, which is different from a rejection. Bella tells her that they should stop worrying about this matter for now, and Denise confirms as such. He will have to live in a cave forever, and become a bear like that legend from the East, but Bella tells her it's the reverse. Denise pouts, wondering if he thinks he is the only one in the world capable of magic. Bella also tells her that a guest has arrived to have a meal with her. As they open the door, they see that it's not anyone but Derrick who is eating at their table like it's nobody's business, confusing Denise quite a bit. Last night, Derrick finally achieved what he wanted to achieve. The flow of mana was aligning, and with just a bit more pushing, he was able to compress the mana into one single point. With it, he was able to activate the magic he wanted, shaking the entire mountainside, but not shattering or breaking absolutely anything. Drest came around and told him that he would collapse at this rate. It would be a waste to die after finally learning such a thing, so it was time for him to leave this place. With this, Derrick has acquired the 3-star tectonic shift magic. As they gathered at a fireplace and cooked some fish, Drest told him that there is nothing more he could teach him now. As he said previously, he will not survive with such mediocre talent. He should think for himself about how far he intends to climb. He gave him a fish and got up, Derrick asking where he was going. Drest told him that he was going to take some fresh air for a while, but then stopped and told him one last bit of information, to beware of Kohela. With that, he went further into the forest, Derrick knowing that he was leaving for good. Now at the Veltus mansion, Veltus is really pleased, thanks to Denise taking the lead. A precious magic instructor walked in on his own 2 feet. Denise thanks her father. She only did what she had to do, though. Veltus also notes that he must have a reason for rejecting Duplain's request, right? He wants to know, as he will assist however much he can. Derrick knows what he means, and notes that he doesn't need anything other than the reward mentioned. He only accepts it because of Denise's attitude. Veltus agrees. Her attitude is indeed wonderful. What other lady on the continent could compare to her? Anyone in the world who sees Denise wouldn't be able to resist teaching her. Doesn't she remember that time when the maid broke the plate? The maid said that she had committed a grave sin and asked for forgiveness. Then she gave her an angelic smile. Before he can finish, Denise interrupts him and notes that she thinks they need to talk about the lessons right now, so she wants some time alone with her instructor. After he leaves, Denise just flat out asks Derrick what he's doing here, and Derrick notes that he is drinking tea, but Denise is not joking. Didn't he say that he wouldn't do it? Did they not have a clean break? Derrick tells her that he was grateful for what happened in Laspa Great Cave. He received great help thanks to her. Denise, however, already told him that it was just a political approach to it. She said she had no intention of learning magic. Derrick, however, explains that he did not feel good about it, without even properly knowing what magic is, because of that attitude of hers, of jumping to conclusions about whether it's good or bad. Denise stays silent for a moment and agrees it must be unpleasant for someone like him, but she dislikes what she dislikes. Derrick, however, tells her that it's a damn pity, without knowing a single good thing about that brilliant magic, to think she would hold such disillusionment and apathy towards it. He will not tolerate something like this. Denise knows she fucked up. She shouldn't really have provoked this magic-obsessed bastard. At the Duplan residence, Oceline looks down at the ground, remembering when she met with Derrick, who flat out told her that she had nothing to learn from him. Her foundation was already firmly set, and it seemed better for her to learn from an instructor of the same school of magic. That is why he could not teach her. She knew even then that he had already made a firm decision, and what he said definitely was not a compliment. The standard, she believed, was everything. She was simply not free at all. Suddenly, her maid interrupts her retrospective and notes that a letter has arrived from the main house. It seems that young Master Valerian's departure ceremony is next week. She did not expect it to be so early, since it's his first departure ceremony. She must prepare a good gift. She will go to the shopping district. The White Zone is dangerous after all, so he must be prepared. As soon as she leaves the room, the chair she was sitting on breaks, signaling that something is wrong. That night at Denise's mansion, she thinks that Derrick is truly well out of his mind. He was glaring, with his eyes wide open, saying she doesn't know a thing about good magic. Magic is only good for him, so why does he force it on others? Bella wonders if Denise has realized that, because if she has, then she won't force Bella to read those vulgar novels anymore, right? Denise immediately gets up, noting that she doesn't know a single good thing about those beautiful and brilliant works. She will not tolerate something like this, and Bella notes that they are basically the same, she and Derrick, in this aspect, as she does not find those novels interesting at all. Denise is just tired because, if she brings someone as a teacher who solves Duplan's headache, gains Elente's recognition, and even kicks Azaline away, the worst part is that, if she does not achieve anything even under such a teacher, she will look completely incompetent. She gets under her covers, wondering why she can't just fire him with her own authority. She just wants to live by lying down and reading novels all day. Bella tells her that if she does fire Derrick, her allowance for those novels will definitely be cut off. With that, she takes her leave, and Denise twirls in her bed a bit before pouting, as the situation is seriously annoying. Before he left, Drest also told Derrick that it would be wisest to maintain good relations with the three major noble houses. That being said, there is no real need to swear loyalty to any side. Rather, he should walk the tightrope between the three, and keep them as anxious as he can. Only then will he be able to look after himself truly. As Denise snores well into the morning, Derrick suddenly comes into her room with a pan and a stick, and he begins beating it loudly, making her wake up immediately and scream. Denise asks if he is crazy, and Derrick says he is not. The sun is high in the sky, and since she would not wake up, he simply made some sort of loud sound. Denise isn't angry at that issue. She's angry about him coming here when she's in her pajamas. Derrick can see that, so he tells her to just change and come out within 5 minutes. With that, he gets out of the room, leaving Denise feeling a bunch of mixed emotions. After getting dressed, she stomps toward him as he waits on the mansion grounds, noting that there is a limit to being that rude. Besides, today is the weekend. Is it not common sense to rest on the weekends? Derrick agrees that is correct. One should not overdo it, especially on the weekend. Then she wonders why he is making such an issue in the morning. Derrick tells her that not overdoing it is different from failing to maintain the basics, or not doing it at all. If she is one of the members of the great Rosaya Salon trio, it is natural to maintain a minimum level of refinement even on resting days. Denise notes that he's the one who decided what's natural, murmuring that, as his employer, she does not agree. Should he not operate within the rules she set? However, that's when Derrick just pulls out a contract, noting that it was written by the Grand Duke Veltus himself. His employer thus is the Grand Duke Veltus, and the Grand Duke has delegated all authority for her magic training to him. Denise's face drops a bit. She tries to reason with him, but Derrick gets up and talks over her, noting that he will begin explaining today's schedule. After a light breakfast, they will first assess her level of search-type magic. Afterward, she will have to relearn combat-type elemental magics from the basics. In the afternoon, she will have physical training, followed by learning about mana utilization. Denise tells him to wait a few times, noting that he just said they wouldn't overdo it because it's the weekend, and Derrick agrees. Maintaining the basics is a difficult task, isn't it? Now Denise realizes that she bit off a lot more than she could chew. The training begins in earnest, and as Bella puts some sheets up on the drying string, she sees Denise huffing and puffing as she follows Derrick, begging Bella to help her. But Bella seems to be quite enjoying this as she cheers her on. After the running, Derrick makes her do theory work, and after that, he fixes her posture during magic chanting, and after that, more running into the night. After they are done, Denise takes a bath and tells Bella that she is really going to die so that mercenary jerk will go to hell. Bella notes that the responsible party is pretty unclear, so she might be the one that's going to hell. Denise wonders why she is acting like this. She's completely changed since meeting that bastard. She's just like him, with no blood and tears left in them. Bella tells her, with quite a condescending tone, that without blood and tears, a human dies. Denise notes that's pretty scary, but that cunning guy made a contract with her father, so she cannot even fire him. Bella tells her to try to tell her father, then tell him to fire Derrick. Denise notes she would tell her father that Derrick is really lazy and has no skill, and with Bella backing her up, it should be easy. However, Bella outright refuses, which she half expected. She may want to fire him now, but she knows she can't do it. He is the instructor she brought in herself, and he's a talent that the other houses are eyeing too. Denise can't really say anything about that, and agrees that her father might be flexible with other stuff, but he never compromises when it comes to the honor of the house. After she wobbles out of the bath, walking like a zombie, Denise notes that she can finally read her novel. Bella tells her that it would be wiser to sleep, but Denise refuses to give in without at least a chapter. However, that's when Derrick appears, asking if she's coming out now. Denise immediately gets scared and wonders what he's doing here. She thought he went home or something. There's more training left. Derrick wonders where she got that idea from. What good is there in overdoing it? Although Denise believes she overdid it plenty already, he explains that he's here to tell her tomorrow's schedule. However, she immediately covers her ears and calls out the guards to get him out of here at once. 3 days have passed since then. After waking up this morning, Denise notes that it's been 3 days. Bella corrects her and tells her that, since she's attending the Rosia Salon meeting today, there will not be any training, right? Denise completely forgot about it, and immediately runs off to change before that crazy bastard shows up. Bella tells her that even if she doesn't run away, she does think he would have let her go. She gets dressed up, but when she comes out of the room, Derrick is already waiting, wondering if she rested well. He notes that he's here to explain what they'll do today, basic physical strength and theory. Before he can finish, Denise immediately runs away, noting that today is her meeting day, and she should know how important social activities are. Derrick is aware, and notes that he will wait at the mansion until it's over. The Rosia Salon and the social circles are important activities for a noble after all, so she should take her time. Denise is a little suspicious that this wicked bastard is actually just letting her go like that. He might know she's just going there to kill time, but whatever. Even those annoying meetings can be useful sometimes, it seems. However, Derrick naturally seems to have some sort of plan with this. After getting back from the meeting well into the evening, Denise looks more tired than content. Bella notes that she was rather energetic during the meeting, but she looks like someone who is being dragged to their own death now that they are going back. Denise says that it is pretty obvious. Derrick is waiting for her at home, that devil, perverted beast. However, as she tries to think of something, she suddenly gets an idea, and Bella wonders why she is gathering mana. Denise notes that she is going to flip the carriage with her mana to skip the training. Is she really a genius? Bella immediately captures both of her arms to stop her from doing so, despite her immediate fussing. As they get to the mansion grounds, with a few hairs sticking out here and there, they see Derrick chatting with Mr. Febb, the gardener. He notices her almost immediately, and turns to her, noting that since she is back, she should head to the study immediately, as she will be self-studying theory books this evening. Denise is confused, and after getting to the study, she wonders why he's not sticking around to pester her today. She is grateful, honestly, but it's still pretty weird. She looks outside of the window and sees he's training with one of the guards. After going to the kitchen, she sees him cooking with her chef, and later in the evening, she sees him helping one of the older maids revitalize some flowers. She thinks that he's suspicious, very suspicious. Bella clings next to her and listens as Denise explains that Derrick has been chatting up the servants quite a bit lately. She doesn't know what he is plotting, but she must never fall for it. She's on her side, right? She won't be swayed, will she? Bella confirms as such. She likes being by her side more than anything. However, the next morning, as Denise studies, she sees Derrick chatting animatedly with Bella, who seems to be rather affected by it, and Denise can't believe it. That evening, she goes up to Derrick and asks what the hell he is up to. This mansion is hers, and all the people here are her people. Derrick doesn't really understand why she is stating the obvious, but Denise notes that he is trying to win over her servants. He should stop with whatever he is scheming and just teach her magic. Derrick doesn't hide the fact that he is getting closer to her servants, but alas, he is not scheming a thing. Denise wonders what he's doing getting close to them then. It's making her really anxious. Derrick slowly gets up, closing his book, and notes that it's because he needs to know more about her. Not the elegant lady of the rumors, but the real Denise. Teaching someone is not just about delivering the knowledge. The more he knows about the person receiving the lesson, the better he can provide teaching for them. Denise can't really say anything to that, and sheepishly asks what they said, that she's prettier than Aisling or Alente. Derrick immediately notes that he heard she finds everything bothersome and lacks motivation, that she takes the lead more than anyone when it comes to important stuff, that although she acts indifferent, she actually takes good care of everyone. The gardener told him that she was just like his own daughter. His disobedient second daughter was exactly like she was. The chef told him that there are days that she grumbles the seasoning is off, but the next day she orders expensive salt for everyone. The guards note that at one point one of them with yellow hair was sick, and somehow she found out and gave him plenty of medicine, so they would naturally risk their lives to protect her. Even Bella told him that she nursed her all night when Denise fell ill, and after seeing her sleep beside her, she almost munched on her because she was so cute. Denise can't help but smile a bit like that, but then throws it off, noting that they just said those things to be polite. She was just doing her job. Derrick also points out that he heard she was a talented writer. Denise's demeanor immediately falters, and she wonders what he's talking about. She doesn't know anything about any sort of writing. Derrick, however, wonders if she's writing a novel called The Arrogant Sir Robane, right? He enjoyed reading it as well. Denise immediately gets flustered, wondering who else knows about this and why Derrick is reading it. He continues, noting that he particularly related to the tragic past. However, Sir Robane felt quite excessive. Faint romantic feelings are one thing, but 7 pages dedicated to describing his wild masculinity, and the vividness of the descriptions were quite bold as well. Denise immediately runs away, extremely flustered, and Derrick thinks that he was not lying. The need to know his student is only natural, but he also needs to know her greatest strengths. He decides to push it just a bit further the next morning when he goes to her as she gets prepped and wonders if she did some writing last night as well. It is better to sleep at night, however. Denise immediately brushes it off since Bella is here, wondering what he is talking about. With a pretty shaky tone, Derrick tells her that he meant the arrogant Sir Robane that he mentioned yesterday. Did she forget already? By the way, regarding the balcony scene in Volume 9, the sudden graphic description was quite startling. To get out of this situation, Denise grabs his hand and pulls him away, noting that she needs to wake up bright and early and needs to train magic quickly, which is exactly what Derrick was aiming for. Later that evening, Alente arrives to have some tea and notes that it's already been about 10 days since she brought in the magic instructor. How is it? Has she adjusted? Denise shakes a bit with tiredness, both physical and mental, and notes that if hell exists, it might be this. Alente doesn't even have to see it to know that she is having a pretty rough time. She also wonders if she heard the news, with Denise not really having heard anything, being stuck between training and dodging questions about her book. Alente explains that Lady Diella's debut will be held quite soon, so she'll be attending the next routine meeting with Aisling. Denise really doesn't care about that, as she heard she was a good-for-nothing. At the Grand Duchy of Duplan, Diella also gets informed about the Rosaya Salon, but wonders why she would ever go there. The butler tells her that she'll be attending next week's meeting. It's part of the preparations for her debut. She'll be going, as there is someone she would like to see anyway, that Denise girl. The next morning at the Duplan residence, Diella meets with Aisling and does not see why she has to join the Rosaya Salon. Besides her, Alente, and Denise, the rest aren't really worth that much, right? Aisling sheepishly tells her that there are many people who are both highly cultured and charming, but Diella doesn't really get it. She's curious about life outside the mansion, sure, but she is not interested in the social circles. Everything everyone just says sounds good, and that's pretty fake to her. Seeing that, Aisling tells her to think about it differently, for her, and for them both. Thanks to the name Duplan, entering high society is a given, but it's different for those who aren't in their position. For them, entering the social scene is an incredibly important opportunity. They shouldn't think lightly of a privilege they obtain without any sort of effort. They should accept it with gratitude and work hard because of it. In that sense, belonging to the salon is a good experience, as she can meet all sorts of people. Diella notes that she will think about it, with a small nod, but she was planning on visiting at least once anyway. By the way, now that she's finished all of her basic education, she'd be getting her own mansion in Eberstein soon, right? Aisling agrees as such, and she will be able to hire her own servant as well. Bro, They're just handing out mansions like hot cakes. Diella wonders though, could she hire that mercenary from the village as her magic teacher? Isaline gets a little more sheepish and tells her that she knows what she is thinking, but she knows too that Derrick is currently teaching Denise. Diella knows very well. In fact, it would be rude to take someone from another house. She was just thinking about it, of course. Just thinking. Isaline doesn't think so. At Denise's mansion, after a bunch more training, Derrick tells her that she's improved quite a bit. She should now be able to intercept enemies outside of her own field of vision. He takes a deep breath, lets it go, and then looks at her with those red eyes of his and wonders, isn't magic just so much fun? Denise wants to run away right now, and Bella agrees that it is a lot of fun. Derrick crouches down to Denise and notes that she can feel the sense of mana changing. Can she not? That feeling of sensitively detecting those differences that are subtle. There is no way it wouldn't be fun. It's about training the mana she was born with to reach higher heights, to be sensitive and precise, to have freedom. That is the true meaning of magic. It's enjoyable, isn't it? Denise almost wants to cry out at how horrifying he is right now, and Bella agrees once again that it's enjoyable. Denise wonders why she's talking. What part of this is enjoyable? This is exhausting. Bella notes that since she's watching, it's quite enjoyable for her, and Denise kind of expected her to answer like that, although it's still pretty surprising. Derrick, however, wonders if she has not yet realized the joys of magic. Denise wonders how she could realize any sort of joy when he's looking at her. Derrick notes that it's his mistake then. It seems the training intensity wasn't right for her. Denise gets a hopeful glint in her eye. However, it's immediately crushed when Derrick notes that he will be increasing the intensity enough for her to feel a sense of achievement. Her eyes begin to shake, and she grabs on his leg, noting that it's fun. Magic is extremely fun now. She is having so much fun. She loves magic more than anything in the world. Derrick, however, untangles his foot from her grasp and notes that he must go. He will draw up a much higher intensity training schedule. The next day, Diella makes her way to the social circle, and she hears everyone chatting animatedly. Although, to her, they seem pretty fake. Just watching them act all pretty and normal is almost making her throw up. She looks around, not seeming like a noble at all, until eventually she finds her target, Denise, who seems a little disheveled and tired. Diella looks at her for a moment before blowing some hair out of her face and walking towards her. She asks if she is Lady Denise of House Veltus, and introduces herself pretty roughly, just noting that she's from House Duplan, and called Diella, giving the others pause. The girls who were talking with Denise immediately back away, and Denise goes to introduce herself, but Diella stops her, noting that she called her out because she already knew her name. The greetings are over, so she wants to ask one thing. Denise is naturally annoyed by her attitude, and asks what she would like to know. She will answer to the best of her knowledge. Diella asks if she has Derrick with her. Denise wonders why she's asking if she already knows, but confirms as such. Derrick is teaching her magic. Diella immediately clicks her tongue, and this makes Denise even madder. She just clicked her tongue at her. She wonders where she should kick her. Diella notes that she seems to be doing pretty well, but Denise wonders what part of her is doing well when there are bags under her eyes right now. However, that's when she realizes that this girl is actually jealous of her because she has Derrick. In that case, she is not just a brat, but also a little angel in disguise. She seems to want to have Derrick right now. She's come to liberate her from this personal hell she has created. Diella notes that she doesn't seem to realize it, but she should be nervous, as Derrick's the type to do as he pleases. He can change his mind whenever he feels like it. Denise immediately agrees, noting that Derrick's choice is the most important thing after all. Diella wonders why she's acting like this. She's provoked her pretty openly, but she's composed. Is she confident that she won't lose Derrick? She decides to push further, noting that she must know well, right? If, by any chance, Duplan offers a better negotiation proposal, what does she think will happen? Denise notes that would be pretty wonderful. Perhaps teaching her would be better. Diella wonders what this is. Is she not even flinching? Denise tries to tell her that if she'd like to speak with Derrick, she can arrange a meeting, but Diella backs away, wondering how she seduced Derrick to be so confident. Denise should just wait and see, as Diella will get him eventually. However, Denise just begs to be spared, and for Diella to come and save her. Denise thinks about it a bit more and smiles. That little angel in front of her seemed to want the same thing. Derrick moving to House Duplan, that is. So she will make sure to write something that they will not be able to refuse. She writes a letter directly to Diella, noting that she believes they are looking towards the same goal. The truth is, she wants to dismiss Derrick, and she wants to have Derrick, right? Therefore, she would like to make a proposal. They should have a magic duel. She will put Derrick on the line, so she should wager whatever she likes. No matter what it is, she intends to lose the duel on purpose. Then their house will have no choice but to hand Derrick over. Sincerely, Denise of House Veltus. At House Duplan, that night, as it pours, Duplan himself asks his two sons how the White Zone was. Valerian tells him that it seems the subjugation will take quite some time, but it wasn't without result. Duplan finds it quite commendable. Just what kind of results did they bring? Reg tells him that, while subjugating one of the labyrinths in the White Zone, he discovered a magic weapon. Duplan guesses that it is a high-quality item since it's from the White Zone labyrinth. He will have to check it himself. Valerian, however, tells him that it was a large staff, likely an item used for necromancy magic, which naturally turns the situation a lot more serious. In the morning, Denise clutches her sheets as she dreams about Derrick's training. Although her imagination might be overdoing it quite a bit, she wakes up screaming, telling him to stop, and then realizes that she was dreaming. But why was it so realistic then? She gets out of bed and asks Bella why she didn't wake her up. Bella notes that she must have been tired, so she let her sleep quite a bit longer. Denise tells her that if that devil Derrick torments her for oversleeping, she doesn't know what she will do. However, Bella tells her not to worry. Derrick requested an urgent leave because the mercenary corps commander was injured. She just hopes it's nothing serious. Denise looks at her and immediately begins walking away, noting that she's going to skip breakfast for today. She goes back in her room and celebrates, noting that she is free, even if it's just for one day. She is a free woman. How long has it been since she's tasted freedom like this? It's extremely cozy. The cool air. Everything is perfect. She wonders what she should do. Perhaps read a novel. The ones she hasn't read are piled up in the study, but she can't concentrate right after waking up. She usually reads them at night. Then, maybe she should write a novel. Derrick makes his way to the Eberstein commercial district of Beldunstier through the rain and finds the tavern completely and utterly empty. Without a hint of warmth, he goes to the back door and sees just what sort of damage the commander got, with an entire arm being cut off. He notes that it's been a while. Derrick slowly removes his cloak with a squint of his eyes, the most emotion he's going to show. The commander notes that even during the Dawn War, he did not have injuries like these. It seems that he has grown old after all. Derrick wonders what he means. No matter how dangerous the White Zone labyrinths may be, they shouldn't be enough to take him down. The commander notes that he is right. He never could have imagined encountering a sandworm there. However, he saw more than enough sandworms during the Dawn War, but this one appearing so suddenly just caught him off guard completely. Still, he gave up an arm and sliced that bastard's neck, so it was a pretty profitable trade, was it not? Pauline tells him that this is no time to be joking, and the commander notes that lately, as Duplan has been poking around the White Zone more and more, other nobles have started putting in exploration requests as well. He wonders if they were looking for something profitable. However, he will tell him now to never go into the White Zone unless he is pushing through with a proper army. Going there will just lead to a dog's death, and he cannot stand to see him die no matter what. Denise tries her best to read and write, but she cannot concentrate at all. What does she usually do lately? It was always nothing but magic. Maybe her brain has been rewired to only think about magic. The next day, Denise gets up bright and early, walking just as the morning dew falls from the leaves. She begins walking through the estate grounds, but her mind is preoccupied with something else. She thinks of the countless people who have told her from a young age that she is the hope of this house because her brother is incompetent. Only a genius like her could restore the house. The future of their house rests on her shoulders, as Iseline had done the same and succeeded. To Denise, this just feels like a tightrope that offers no other path forward. Naturally, Denise is just scared, and she simply does not want to do this. But nobody would let her even consider another path. Their expressions change so drastically whenever she hesitates that something inside her shifts irrevocably. She wonders why everyone is so obsessed with this damn magic. It's not like she doesn't know how to do it. She begins casting and creates an entire web around herself using 2-star search magic, surveillance. She does this to prove to herself that she can, as a 2-star spell is nothing. However, that's when Derrick appears behind her and notes that the mana formula on the perimeter is quite distorted. This creates blind spots in her surveillance. She is surprised to find him there, as she hadn't sensed him, but Derrick tells her to focus. Otherwise, her mana will be wasted. Denise is amazed that he entered undetected despite being well within her magic's range. Derrick sees a few threads that she's using to probe around, and he simply grabs them, pulling them inward. This causes a magical backlash, and he explains that, on the battlefield, search mages often clash. After all, information is half the battle. The outcome is decided by who the better search mage is, so they should start training right now. He tears the web apart and tells her to protect herself from external interference. Then nobody will be able to look down on her magic. Denise bites her lower lip and then smiles. If he really wants to go that far, then he shouldn't regret what happens next. With that, she begins unleashing much more mana. She's going to take him down anyway, so there's no need to be cautious. She will go all out. Diella arrives at her new mansion, and the butler apologizes for providing such a humble residence. Diella wonders why he is apologizing, as the residence is perfectly suitable. She just needs proper training grounds. After that, she begins walking towards them, but the butler tells her to wait a moment, as a letter has arrived at the main house. It's from Lady Denise of House Veltus, addressed to her. Naturally, Diella goes to the main house and begins reading it, but instead of feeling happy, she scoffs at the part about losing on purpose. Denise's trap-setting skills are far worse than Diella expected if Denise is trying to make Diella lose by lowering her guard like this. Does Denise want to defeat Diella so Denise won't lose Derrick? Diella crumples up the letter in her hands and throws it behind her, shooting a thorn right through it. She thinks that Derrick is wasting time with a snake like that, as he is much better suited to her house. The next day at the Eberstein Noble District, Denise is extremely tired. She wonders why she worked that hard yesterday. Just what the hell is wrong with her? In the end, she just collapses, hitting the Yamcha pose. Suddenly, Iseline arrives and sits down, as she heard that Diella was rather rude to her the other day. As her older sister, she has to apologize for something like that. Denise tells her there's nothing to apologize for, as they had a good talk. Iseline explains that Diella can be aggressive at times, but she is not a bad child. She's just different than most. Denise tells her that there's nothing to worry about, thinking that Iseline is her guardian angel after all. Iseline also notes that she's not sure if Diella can adjust well. If she joins the Rosia salon like this, she likely will not be able to fit in, so Iseline asks Denise for a favor. Denise wonders what it is. Meanwhile, inside her new mansion, Diella begins ordering the butlers and maids around. As the hallways are a bit empty, they should bring the paintings from the main house and hang them up. She asks if she can go train, since everything is done, but one of the maids explains that guests will be arriving, and confirms that Diella is meeting the Renfell Trading Company at lunch, and the Magic Society in the afternoon. Diella sighs, wondering if they can't just deal with them and send them away. But the maid also explains that someone from House Veltus is coming before lunch. Diella immediately says she doesn't want to see anyone from House Veltus, but the butler explains that it's Derrick from House Veltus. Should he send him back? Diella immediately gets flustered and tells the butler to bring Derrick to the guest room and hurry. Derrick looks at her new mansion while standing outside the gates. Diella is extremely happy that Derrick came to see her. So happy, in fact, that she falls on her face and then immediately begins running again, not even seeming to feel the fall. The butler invites him inside, and is surprised to hear that he's here to persuade Lady Diella. Derrick confirms this, and explains that the Rosia Salon wants Diella to join. Iseline asked Denise for a favor, and Denise, in turn, asked him to help persuade Diella. The butler doubts that Derrick will be able to do it. Despite Iseline's persuasion, Diella remained rather vague, saying she would think about it. Derrick, at the very least, still wishes to try. In the guest meeting room, Diella is waiting patiently, though it's clear that she's a little restless, her face a little flushed. At the sound of Derrick's knock, she jumps slightly and tells him to just come in. When he does not enter immediately, she repeats herself, and Derrick slowly makes his way inside and bows, asking how she has been. Diella's expression immediately brightens, though her smile is rather shaky. As Derrick sits down, he notes that she has grown quite a bit taller and even more beautiful. Diella immediately melts at the compliments, with Derrick thinking that it really is working, isn't it? Diella catches herself and notes that he's learned how to sweet talk. He is quite a socialite, isn't he? Derrick tells her he was just stating the truth, which does make her pretty happy. He explains that the reason he came to see her is because he has a favor to ask. Would she consider joining the Rosia Salon? Diella doesn't understand why he is talking about that, and he explains that she will be having her debut soon, right? If so, joining the salon will also prove advantageous in her future activities. Diella clarifies that she meant to ask what this has to do with him. Derrick explains that he wants her to head to a wider ocean. She's his precious first student after all. These words win her over, and Diella immediately puts in an application to join. At the Rosia Salon, Iseline and Denise wonder what has gotten into Diella, and why she suddenly wants to join like that. Iseline just forces a smile, noting that Diella never listens to her, yet she listens to Derrick. Denise notes the same thing. It is because of Derrick. But what is it about him for everyone to act so differently around him? As evening begins and Denise is about to depart, Diella suddenly appears. She skips the pleasantries entirely and tells Denise that they should duel next week. Diella reminds Denise of her promise to put Derrick on the line, but if the Grand Duke isn't convinced, the duel will not happen. In that case, Diella says she will put up something that would convince the Grand Duke. There's a painting named The Landscape of Coarse Granary at Denise's mansion, right? Diella says that if she loses, she will purchase that painting from Denise for a good price. As Denise departs, her maid wonders if there is even such a painting in the mansion, and Denise says that it is probably somewhere in the mansion. The maid asks why Denise accepted, and whether Denise is happy now that the duel is happening. and she can finally be free of Derrick. Denise brings this proposal to her father that night, who agrees. If it's that much, it's worth having a duel with Derrick on the line. A very good deal indeed. You don't necessarily need to achieve something through magic. If you can fulfill your role for the house, even in this way, then I, as your father, will be satisfied. Top 10 ways to guarantee you're going into a nursing home when you get old right here. The next day, Denise goes out into the field a bit and begins feeling around with her magic. She can feel the blades of grass and even sense birds watching from above. She continues exploring with her surveillance magic, and perhaps, despite herself, she is enjoying it. Derrick appears, noting that she seems to be having some fun with magic, which puts a small smile on his face. Denise is a little sulky that she couldn't sense him this time either, and Derrick says that it is because he hid both his mana and his presence. However, he can tell how much she's grown. Doesn't she think magic and writing novels are quite similar? Her novels have vivid emotions and a delicate touch to them. She visualizes the characters and what they are thinking with precision. Magic is quite similar to that. She must find the mana, observe it, and handle it deftly. She is someone who knows that joy better than anyone, so she should realize its value. Denise says that she is not that valuable a person and suddenly gets up, telling him to follow as she has something to show him. She leads him into a dark room and pulls the cloth off a supposed painting and explains that this is the landscape of coarse granary, the painting Diella said she would buy if she lost the duel. Derrick notes that he may be uninformed, but this looks like a blank canvas to him. Denise confirms this. Such a painting only exists on the ledgers. It's a fake painting that House Veltis purchased to evade taxes. Diella sure is amazing though. Diella somehow knew this and offered to cover up House Veltis's weakness. Diella also has a perfect read on Denise's father. He has no interest in her magical achievements themselves, as long as she can serve some purpose for the house. That's all that's needed of her. Someone like her is just a pawn, a chess piece in this house. Derrick asks if that is really all she is. What about the Denise who is considerate and warm towards the servants, even in such a suffocating situation? What about the Denise who depicts love and sensitivity more prominently than anyone? What about the Denise who smiles while learning magic without realizing it? Derrick doesn't care what happens to the house. The one he's rooting for is the girl named Denise, so he hopes that tomorrow she will win the match and perhaps even become happy. The next day, Denise sits in quiet reflection. The maid tells her that she must be happy now, as losing the duel tomorrow will allow Denise to let Derrick go. Denise wonders though, is it okay for an empty person like her to work hard at magic alongside people who deserve it and are putting in a sincere effort? Bella tells her that everyone is empty in their own way, and everyone lives with that, filling the void with something. It's like how she writes her novels. Denise wonders how she knows about that, but Bella notes that she's been reading them since the first chapters, and she was the one who told Derrick about them. Denise has also done her best to fill herself. She is full of curiosity and consideration, with eyes that read and empathize with people. She is full right now, full of good things. Denise looks away for a bit and wonders what she should do, as she does not want to lose tomorrow's match. The day of the match arrives, and the two ladies stand before each other. Diella is surprised that Denise actually showed up. Diella thought Denise would be scared since the venue is Diella's mansion. Denise just might be nothing without her house, right? Denise just smiles and tells Diella that there is no need to say hurtful things on purpose because Diella is already strong enough, right? The butler approaches Derrick, who is watching from the window, and asks whether Derrick wishes to watch up close. This is a duel between his apprentices after all. Derrick just doesn't want to cause an unnecessary distraction. He wants it to be a duel in its purest form, solely for the sake of their respective achievements. With those words, the duel finally begins, and Diella thinks there's no need to drag this out, so she will end it in one go. She summons a bunch of magic spears and hurls them at Denise, who, instead of blocking, simply weaves through her attacks with expert precision. The onlookers are shocked, and seeing this, Diella ups the ante, making the spears she threw return toward Denise and aim at her from behind. However, Denise begins dodging again and again, using her footwork to fully showcase her mastery. Diella is shocked, and Derrick sees what Denise did. Denise uses faint wind magic with delicate control and without a single ounce of waste. That's how she evades the barrage. On top of that, she uses precise mana detection. She can dodge everything without even having to see it. Denise is happy that she did it. In fact, she's having fun right now. Diella screams that it's hilarious how Denise is dodging so desperately after saying she would lose on purpose. Diella says she knew Denise was a coward from the start. Denise doesn't apologize for that. Denise admits that she ended up lying because now she's going to win. Seeing this, Diella scoffs. Diella asks if Denise thinks she can win just because she said so. Diella tells Denise to stop with these cheap tricks already, and give Derrick to her as promised. Diella unleashes a bunch of wild thorn magic and magical spears at the same time. All of them fly towards Denise. Denise immediately refuses Diella's demand and begins dodging again and again. Derrick can see what Diella is doing, an indiscriminate bombardment unique to the School of the Wild. The mana output has risen to an unbelievable level too, which Derrick finds impressive. Diella continues her assault, and Denise continues dodging. Through her surveillance, Denise can see everything. Diella's habit of frowning when she pours out strong mana, the way her waist twists when adjusting the trajectory, even the footwork accompanying her incantations. She can see exactly what kind of fighter Diella is now. Denise sees through Diella's attacks and dodges them, but she cannot win with just that. Denise knows full well that this is the limit of mana sensing without an incantation. What she needs now is a spell that requires one, but if she shows even a brief opening while incanting, Diella will not miss. If even one of the hits grazes her, the protection magic will trigger, and she will lose. However, despite the barrage, Denise smiles. She continues dodging, as right now there are only 4 attacks with a high probability of hitting her. She dodges the first 2. The third one comes in the form of a thorn. The fourth one, however, comes from the side, seemingly catching her off guard. Diella believes that she has won, as the spear actually strikes Denise. But something rather strange happens. Diella is confused. Why didn't the protection magic trigger at all? What happened was that Denise actually removed the protection pendant and took the hit herself, shocking Diella. Denise declares she hasn't lost yet since the protection magic didn't trigger. Derrick is actually surprised by this turn of events, and Diella pushes even harder and spreads her spells everywhere. Ice spears, magic arrows, and even more thorny brambles. Diella probably does not care if she collapses from exhaustion afterward. If Denise's protection magic activates, Denise will lose. However, Denise knows that it will take a second for that magic to activate, and in that time, she will win. She hurls one simple ice spell towards Diella, who is too focused on chanting to see it, and the spell actually hits Diella, activating her protection pendant and signaling her loss. Everyone is left completely stunned, and the referee rings the bell, declaring that Denise is the winner. With that, Denise bows, and Diella looks down, a tear in her eye as she stifles her emotions. The day turns into evening, and Denise's carriage still has not left. The driver notes that Denise is late, and the duel seems to have ended a while ago. Bella agrees. She says Denise would not even let them watch, and that she is worried because there were so many loud noises. However, that's when Denise comes running towards Bella, telling her to look at what she has in her hands. Bella is a little worried because one of Denise's eyes is bandaged, and several bandages cover her legs. Bella immediately rushes to her, wondering what happened. Did the protection magic not trigger or something? Denise explains that she did it on purpose, then says that it does not matter because she won. She beat the monstrous Diella. She even got a certificate to prove it. Bella begins shaking her and tells her to calm down, as Denise continues explaining what she did with a very happy expression. Bella, however, has something important to ask her right now. Is she happy? Denise's expression falters for a moment before her smile returns, a little more watery this time, but utterly sincere. Bella smiles too, and embraces Denise, saying she is happy as well because Denise showed her a true smile. That makes Bella really, really happy. Thank you for watching. See you next time.